Kagurabachi fans, welcome back to Miku's Crackhouse. This is episode 127. I am the blacksmith sorcerer, Sam Kingma, and joining me is my best friend and co-host full of fresh hate, Myles J. Myles, we got a bunch of questions from the crackheads this week, and we're going to get to them. But before we do, I introduced you to Shonen Jump's new weekly series called Kagurabachi earlier this morning with a screenshot. That is one of the funniest panels I have seen in a long time. And it reads the main character speaking to his companion about why he doesn't remove his scar, which is something that they're capable of doing in this universe. He simply says, "Every morning when I wash my face and look in the mirror, I see this scar, and I remember that day. So every day, I start the morning with fresh hatred." And that bar sums up the level of edge in this manga to a perfection. To a perfection. Now, is the manga perfection? Is Kagurabachi perfection? No. But what Kagurabachi has become online, Myles, is what I wanted to talk about on Crackhouse. Kagurabachi is manga Morbius.
Oh, okay.
Kagurabachi was announced by an anime news site about 4 or 5 days ago, apparently, and it just came out yesterday. They updated Shonen Jump this week on a Monday instead of Sunday for, I don't know. I don't really know the reason, but whatever. And it's, and basically everyone sees it, and they just showed the image of the character, like this very specific key art image of him holding a katana, and he just got this edgy look on his face. And everyone's like, oh, and it was also said it was inspired by Bleach or whatever. So people are like, oh yeah, big three, next big three, One Piece, JJK, and Kagurabachi. So then everyone just started fucking talking about how it's the next big thing and it's awesome. And you have accounts making anime adaptations of panels from the one chapter that exist, and they're so good. And Myles, they're so good. The anime adaptation profiles, the photos are so god tier good. And then people are like, yeah, Mappa just announced that they're doing a 24 episode adaptation.
I think the best question now is just because how many people, because I'm not gonna try and predict whether or not this shit will get canceled. It'll go on, if it'll be good, if it'll be bad. My question is, how many people will stick it out for the meme, do you think?
Well, here's the thing though, Myles. It was a meme after I read it, which is a unique situation. I read it as I walked in about, hey, new series, all right, let's check it out. And I read it and I was like, dude, this is the type of Linkin Park hybrid theory, Shadow the Hedgehog era.
Now you're
Sasuke.
selling me. You're really selling me on this.
It's edge. It's got a great level of edge. And the main character is a fucking straight-laced fucking edgelord with a very little chill, dude. I will not allow slime like you to wield a katana. Come on, bro. Come on. And the world is cool. It's it's sort of got it's a modern but very Edo period weaponry. Everyone's still using Yakuza and stuff. We're still wielding katanas, and there's sorcery. And his dad was this legendary blacksmith because he imbued his swords and katanas with sorcery, and he was going to follow in his dad's footsteps. But something bad happened. We didn't learn what it was. But him and his companion friend, who is his dad's friend, they're on a quest to fucking stop people who are using katanas for evil. Because as a weapons maker, when you hand a katana to someone and sell it to someone or give it to someone, you gotta make sure that they're going to be a good person.
That's why we make awesome weapons. That's so sick.
It's such a fucking like.
See, this
sick
feels
manga.
good. This feels good to me, like that because I'm always talking about like how much I really want certain things to like be like to take inspiration from different parts of the past. And I actually want to talk about this because I saw a movie that does this, but like I'm always talking about like, yeah, more people need to draw from like this source material instead of this source material. Stop with the Avatar. I know I keep bringing it up, but stop with the Avatar. Other things exist. And a lot of them are really good. You should check them out and draw from them instead of Avatar again. Like, so the fact that, like, we're getting a good nostalgic 2000 story, because this is, like, I really want to see, like, more Magical Girl stuff that's, like, actually fucking 70s through 90s era. Like, even into early 2000s, like, Magical Girl, where it's, like, Pretty Cure, like, actual just fucking Magical Girl stuff. And it can be dark.
It's not a parody or a meta commentary.
Exactly. It can be dark, but I'm talking, like, Utena Dark, where that's like the story content is dark, as opposed to, guys, magical girls as a thing are dark. We send women out to fight evil. That's wrong. Like no, just give it to me, right? Like the fact that someone is like because a lot of people who are making anime nowadays, I'm assuming, are inspired by a lot of the more like I mean, because here's the thing, though. Americans are very inspired by, like, Bleach and Naruto and
the
all
Toonami
that.
era stuff.
The Toonami era stuff. But, like, the fact that there's an actual Japanese thing that is inspired by, like, just mega edgy stuff, it just feels so good. Because, like, that's what I want now. Like, that kind of different flavor that's, like, that it's Anton Ego eating the soup. That's what I want.
Yeah, and I was also saying, too, I was remarking to my pal Bryce about telling him kind of about the first chapter and my thoughts on it. And it's like, and I was feeling this way. I also feel this way, by the way, for the record, about last week's new series called Mama Yu Yu, which it has a very just it's a little complicated what's going on there. And I didn't really care for the first chapter that much, but there was a lot of cool shit in the color page was like, the color spread was like fucking awesome. Like just super cute, really great, very old school looking art. Again, from like a more 90s style era, like Yokohama shopping lug almost style, like art.
Yeah, like that's great.
For some of the background characters, it's like for some of the more background characters, it's really cool. In the second chapter, I felt like did a bit more with the world building, but both those series' first chapters, I feel like. And maybe you can add to this too, Myles. Like, I feel like most stories in Shonen Jump that like stick around in the magazine or become like pretty big hits have a like first chapter that just has the juice. Like, it might not be like one of the best chapters in the entire series or anything, but
no, first chapter like, is great. Like, in my opinion, it's very rare to get like a truly excellent first chapter, because you know what has like a really bland first chapter is Berserk. Berserk has one of like the most like bland first chapters I've ever seen. It's like, oh, the hero who's a dark hero gets into a bar fight and kicks their asses. It's like, you can't start any more lame if you tried. And like Berserk is like King God tier, SSS tricky tier fucking manga now, but like that first chapter is grade A lame, you know? Like, that's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
But it has the juice, like, because the art is still really excellent.
The art's still really good, and like Guts is just a fucking freak, and
like the reveal of his like arm and all his cool powers, like it's got some juice. Like, all you need is the powers juice,
or like a juicy moment. So like, I'll give a couple of examples from like some modern popular ones. My Hero Academia's first chapter has the juice, like Deku on top of the fucking skyscraper with All Might. Like, that whole confrontation, being told he can't be a hero, and then he's got to go, and they go save his fucking bully, and then All Might is called to action and sees him for the hero he can be. That's juice. That's juice. Because you feel like, oh, this story is going to mean something. Like, this story is going to be something that matters.
Something
like in Jujutsu
great is
Kaisen.
going to happen.
Yeah, or like in Jujutsu Kaisen, like it starts with Itadori's like basically only living relative, his grandfather, sort of passing away, and basically his last words to her being like, make sure that when you die, you're surrounded by people who care about you. And then he ends up eating the Sakuna finger and gets sucked in this world and is basically told like, yeah, so you got to eat all these fingers and then you die. And then we're going to kill you. So it's like, so it is like, oh, what's he going to do? Like, it just feels like, oh, like there's going to be something here. There's going to be something of value or merit here. This story might be something of big, you know, or could be something big. Or even Demon Slayer. His whole family gets fucking wiped out and his sister's a demon and he's got to fucking turn her back. Simple fucking plot when you really break it down, but it's fucking compelling as shit.
Yeah, all you need is the great, first of all, the great moment, and especially like the something that makes you say like, oh yeah, I'm here. What's going to happen next? Because if you have a particularly strong moment, just the one, like again, like Makima coming in and seeing Denji, like, oh, what's this bitch about?
Yeah, dude, it's Chainsaw Man's the exact same thing. Dude, Denji gets cut up by the mafia and dies.
Yeah.
And then is revived by Pochita and then found by Makima. That's juice. That's juice.
It's great juice, and we're in it to win it already. That said, speaking of
like
it to win it,
65th best chapter, probably.
Yeah, no, not even close to one of the best chapters in there, but it's got the juice.
But it's got the juice, and that's all that it matters for what a long series runs. And I feel like both Mama Yu had the juice, and I feel like Kagurabachi.
I might have to actually week to week this one.
I will just give you a forewarning. My biggest issue with the first chapter was that the protagonist, while I love his demeanor, he just has one facial expression, and it's him doing this. Like he has like an oval mouth in like over 65% of the panels he's in. He has this,
and you start to realize it, and like that's okay if you're Ozen from Made in Abyss, the character like that.
Yeah, but it's like,
not
this is your
okay
main character, and the problem is, and it's like one of these fucked up things where it's like his dad, who looks exactly like Kafka from Kaiju number 8, but that's neither here nor there, is like he's extremely expressive and he's a very like eccentric guy. And it has a lot of emotion to all his panels, where like the son character is, or Chihiro is the main character's name, is extremely like stoic all the time and oval facing everybody. Heyo, and it's goofy, and I hope. Now that, because basically it was really bad in the first half of the story when he's like 14, but then we time skipped like 38 months and then he's 18. So, my hope is it's a little better in like chapter 2, but I just liked it, dude. Like it's like, I don't want to hype it up. It's like a 6 out of 10, but like, I just connected with the vibe of it a lot.
This,
like,
I have to, trust me, I have to talk about connecting with the vibe of a 6, 7 out of 10. 'Cause I got this. But first, we got questions. I don't want to. I wanted to answer these questions right at the start.
Let's talk about these questions because we got a lot.
Because we always save questions for last, and I always feel bad about that a little bit. Like, yeah.
It also gives us a great opportunity to tell you all to join the Discord if you want to answer questions, or excuse me, if you want to answer the questions, you can. You can do it in the Discord. We encourage you to answer the questions. That's not an illegal statement. That's not a penalty worthy statement. But you can also join the Discord to ask us questions that we'll answer on a later episode. So
we do it every 500 weeks.
Yeah, basically. So let's knock these out. So first one comes from Unbound Soul, who does the timestamps. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
They got us a couple questions. One of them, first one basically is about challenge runs, Myles. Specifically like how you feel about challenge runs and how much of a stickler to the rules of a self-imposed challenge run. Because specifically what Unbound wants to know about is like this the self-imposed gamer challenge run. Like the Nuzlocke, or like I'm going to do a soul level 1 run of Dark Souls, like
something that's like not arbitrary. Like there's
like I'm going to do a hardcore no quick save run of like Thief or
the Iron Man, the Richard Iron Man from Hotline Miami, like
yeah, exactly.
Certain things that like, because I think there's a difference between, I've had a lot of friends who have done pristine only runs of Tears of the Kingdom where and I tried one, and it, unfortunately, I just don't think it's very interesting. But like, that's not like, that run doesn't go down in the annals of history. That's like a fun little self-imposed challenge. The no paraglider run that's a little more of a storied challenge. Like, when you've done the no paraglider run of Tears of the Kingdom, you can say you've done something. When you've completed a Nuzlocke, you can say you've done something. I mean,
I have to, as a player of Pokemon, I adamantly disagree. Because here's the thing, because it's not hard on the level of Nuzlocke, because the base level Nuzlocke rules are so piss easy if you play the game with any tact at all. Base Nuzlocke rules are easy. So Nuzlocks have evolved over time to what is commonly referred to as the hardcore set of rules, which involves self-imposed level caps. And basically, it's the classic rules of first Pokemon in each route, Pokemon faints, it dies, plus level cap to the ace of the current gym leader. And also, that's mainly it. I think there's one more rule. Oh, no items in battle, of course. Yes, of course. I just casually play Pokemon with no items in battle because I feel like I'm a fucking cheating asshole, even when the AI is popping full restores and shit. Like, I feel like a fucking cheating dick if I whip out a potion, so I just don't do it ever. So I kind of, that one slipped my mind. But yeah, and like, that actually makes it a bit tougher. But even that's not that bad. But
you can still say you've done something. You can still say you've done it, and it's storied.
And using Nuzlocke, specifically hardcore Nuzlocke, Miles, we can answer another aspect of Unbound's question here, which is sort of about, like, caveats. So, like, a big thing a couple years ago with Nuzlocks was, like, hacking in rare candies. Hacking in rare candies to sort of just level up your Pokemon to the level cap so you can just skip the grinding. And grinding in Nuzlocke is a part of the experience because your Pokemon can die during fucking grinding if you're not paying attention. Or if you're trying to rush it because you want to level up faster and you get greedy.
Yeah, like if you go to a higher level area to try and grind, like that's a real danger. Now you can go to an easier area and grind, but that's a choice you have to make.
Exactly. Whereas like when you just hack in rare candies, it takes all the challenge out of that. However, what rare candies do add is not only do they take the time out from grinding, it also makes losing a team member way less harder of a pill to swallow, because like there would be runs where if you're doing a classic Nuzlocke and you basically got a team of 6 that you've been rocking with the most of your run and you lose like 1 or 2 of them in like a late game boss fight, it's gonna take a long ass fucking time to get 2. You'll have 2 substitutes probably available to you in your box throughout your adventure, but grinding them up naturally would take a long fucking time to what in reality would be like maybe like 10 more fights. Whereas with the rare candies, it's just like, all right, get in the fucking party, you get up to the level cap, and then you're on your fucking merry way. So like, how do you feel about like caveats like that, where it's like, all right, I am gonna hack in this shit, but like cut on the grinding, just like get on with it?
I think the thing about a challenge run, if it's not just for fun, because I'm sorry, we live in the age of the internet, and you have to compare yourself more so than ever to everyone else who's playing the game. I don't know if it has to necessarily affect you, but like, we always talk about the discourse, right? We always bring up the discourse. And the thing about the discourse is that like, you kind of have to come at it from a perspective of like we've all sort of had a similar but not the same experience. So when you have something that is that particular, right? Like if you want to enter the discourse about Starfield, right? I guarantee you a lot of the people that you're going to be talking to have played Starfield with mods. And so like,
every copy of Starfield is personalized.
Yeah. And so if you want to talk about Starfield, the game, like, and really talk about the game, you have to play it without mods. No one's gonna do that though, unless you're playing on like PS5, right? Xbox Series X, shit like that. So with a game like Starfield, like, I think that there is a certain degree of, like, you can let the discourse slide. But, like, when you're entering the Nuzlocke realm or, like, the self-imposed challenge realm, you either do it that way or you don't. And if you don't do it that way, you can't really talk about having done it. Now, you can personally feel that you've done it, and you've done it the way that you want, and you can be happy that you tried it, and you can have fun and have that fun experience. But, like, if you're gonna come in and be like, bruh, Nuzlockes are so easy, and you did the hard candy shit, you didn't do it. Like, it's sort of like when we were talking about you have beaten Contra on 1 credit, but
I have beaten yes, I have technically beaten Contra without
losing your 3 lives,
using a continue, and without losing 3 lives. However, I had the Konami code enabled when I did it, so it doesn't really count.
There's a level of peace of mind that you have. Like, the psychological element is really important.
You're totally right, dude. You are absolutely right, because it was not on my mind, my level of performance that run, until I got through stage 5. I'm like, hey, I still got the spread. This is awesome. And then I lose it in, like, halfway through stage 6 or something. But I only died like 4 times that entire playthrough. But you get extra lives throughout. You'd have like 5 or 6 lives by that point, so I technically would have beaten Red Falcon and everything without having to use a continue. But yeah, no, I technically really didn't do it.
You met the requirements necessary to say that you have done a 1 credit clear of Contra, and theoretically anyone who's used the Konami code has met the credentials to say they've done a 1 credit clear of Contra. Because if you didn't get fucking killed 30 times, then you've done a 1 credit clear of Contra. But there is a certain level of, like, when people are referring to the 1 credit clear, they don't necessarily mean, like, oh, just beating the game without using a continue. Like, I think they are very specifically referring to the basic stats. If you dropped a quarter into your NES, which you can't do, that would be the experience.
3 lives and you don't see it's 3 lives and you don't see the continue screen, and you can get more lives when you play the game. But, like, other than that, when you see the continue screen, you got to continue again. That's putting in another quarter. That's not a 1 credit clear. Like, it's yeah. I agree with you, and I did it. Like, I agree with you. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really count IMO. Like,
yeah, and here's the thing: if someone wants to be satisfied that they've done it, like, I'm not gonna comment and tell them, like, they didn't do it, like, because that's just a dick move. But I think that there is also a certain level of, like, you kind of have to respect your elders who have done better, like, who have done the real thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Oh my god, like the fact that, like, shout out our buddy Tom, who's beaten Ninja Gaiden on original NES hardware. Holy fucking shit, dude!
Yeah, he's done the real thing. Like, I want to do like
I can't beat that game with fucking intense save stating. Like, oh my god, like,
I want to do. There's a couple of, like, challenge runs that I'd like to do. Like, I would really like to do a 3-heart run of all the Zeldas that I could tolerate to do. And to be honest, I would even do 3-hour run of Majora, because I think that game is too fucking easy with the amount of fucking garbage you do. The problem is all the garbage is the stuff I actually want to do.
The content.
Yeah. So like, but if I really wanted to say I did it, like, the problem is that, like, there are some really free 3-heart runs. So, like, that's not it for me. I would like to do an all S rank, just all one go of Devil May Cry, Dante Must Die mode, like, just really bang it out and get that perfect score, get that perfect card. And just get the SSS on all difficulties. But I'd probably only do DMD for, like, that run. And just, like, if I get an A rank, it's like, all right, roll it back, go to the title screen, start over.
Oh my god, you'd have to hard reset? You wouldn't just replay the chapter until you got the S?
I think I would want to build up to doing that. Like, I would definitely want to build up to being able to do that. I want to do a no alerts kind of Foxhound or Big Boss run of every MGS game I can tolerate, which is most of them. So we're doing pretty well there.
Peace Walker.
Well, Peace Walker doesn't even have, like, that kind of ranking. And even 4, like, I would love to do a Big Boss run of 4. Like, that would be fun. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to say, I think, what like what you really get out of doing these challenge runs where we're like being able to really talk about it, because no one's doing challenge runs. You can't talk about it. I would love to do a no paraglider run of Tears of the Kingdom that's like actually 100%, but everyone is going to only do the 4 dungeons, and so I'm not going to be able to talk about that.
Yeah, so hold on. So I want to tie this in, because you also mentioned Starfield earlier with how everyone plays it with mods, and it kind of ties into another one of Unbound's questions that I wanted to tie in now. Which you mentions, should consumers consume media exactly as the author of any given work prescribes to keep it in line with the author's intent, or should consumers always have the freedom to consume a piece of media however they wish? Assume any work, like a game or a movie or whatever, can be experienced only once, but with perfect accuracy.
I would actually say, yeah, if it's about the consumer only getting to experience it once, they should be allowed to kind of customize the experience. And I wouldn't have said this. I wouldn't have said this prior to like understanding what mods actually are, I think, for games. Because to me, like, mods were, until I actually started doing Tears of the Kingdom modding, and especially when I started looking into Breath of the Wild modding, I had always imagined mods were like drastic fixes to problems, but like a lot of people do like very minuscule tweaks.
Yeah, a lot of like minor stuff out there too, along with some like major overhauls for every occasional game that has a really big passionate fan base behind it. But like, why I wanted to bring up, like, why I mentioned like Starfield, there's a couple other games I could throw in here too. I'd throw in Kenshi in here as well, as like, I think like modding is a part of the intended game experience. Fucking Lo-Fi Games' YouTube channel has a fucking tutorial on how to mod Kenshi. Like the developer of the game tells you how to do it. Like, and clearly Starfield's very vocal with wanting you to do mods. Obviously, being like, yeah, just request the community to fix crucial graphical or bug fixes is problematic. But like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, you know, additional content or additional sort of like, you know, graphical remixes or, you know, whatever the myriad of things people can do with mods, you know, the infinite amount of possibilities like people have. It is the intended experience for some of these games to be modded in the same way that, like, I was thinking about this a lot recently with like game reviews, that like the concept of rolling credits is very arbitrary. Like, when you just play a game and you just see the credits and you just be like, okay, I've seen it automatically, that's enough time to make a full opinion about the game. You can have an opinion about a game at any point in your experience with it, whether you've played it for 15 minutes or, you know, 15 hours or 50 hours.
I think it's that's a big like modern kind of opinion, I think, because it's the rolling credits is such a unless it was the NES or an arcade game where like there's a real personal achievement to saying I'm going to finish this game and then doing it. It's really easy to finish games nowadays, in my opinion. Like, you really don't have to work as hard. You don't have to put as much time into meeting the game halfway and understanding it, because the game is very communicative about it. Like,
but let's be clear, you do have to put a lot of time in.
Yeah, because games have gotten longer, but like,
but you do not have to throw your head against the wall in the same way that you would have to do against your typical Genesis or like
you
NES game.
You could spend a whole like afternoon just playing, you know, to a level that you lost to last time. Like, you get home from school, you want to play more Dynamite Heady, and it's like, all right, well, I have to get to level 5 this time, so I got to go through levels 1 through 4, and I can't fuck up because I don't know level 5 all that well. And so like,
that's how I got good at the classic Sonic games, is literally playing the Mega Collection like that. Is I'd play and get as far as I could, and I'd game over, and then I'd get a little further the next time I played, and eventually I'd start beating them.
Was me with Super Mario Bros., which I still need to get back to that. I never did finish that game, but like, that there is a personal achievement to being able to say, like, because that's how those games were designed. Those games were designed to very specifically, you know, have the player do them over time and conquer a challenge very slowly. And like, Dark Souls is probably the closest thing to that nowadays, to that experience of like, of saying that you've overcome it. But Dark Souls also compensates for it by being about the length of an NES game, so to speak. Maybe
When
a
you're
little
really
longer. Yeah, a little longer.
It's like 3 hours, like 3.5 hours, maybe like a Genesis or Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, Super Nintendo's
like a more
probably
arcadey one.
Like Mario World. I would say Mario World is a really good length to compare it to, and because it's a good like 4 to 5 hour game. But we don't get games that are about giving that kind of time to seeing the credits. Nowadays, the time that you put into the game is usually the time that it takes to get to the end, as opposed to like, you know, I could beat The Legend of Zelda in 80 minutes. A first playthrough of Legend of Zelda might be 20 hours, right? Like,
yeah,
that there is something very different about, you know, Death Stranding is 40 hours long. Those 40 hours are seamless because you're not dying in that game. Unless you are god awful, you're not going to die in that game, and dying is not the real trouble that you're going to have in the game. So what's the problem? And so for me, like, I do think that it's kind of more and more fair to say, like, yeah, here's my opinion of the game, even though I haven't finished it. But the idea of, like, you need to roll credits to say that you've seen the game is such a modern thing, because nowadays getting to the end of a game means something very different. It means that you've experienced a full narrative, and it means that you've experienced like a full gauntlet of I mean, it's all about the story, and you've experienced a full gauntlet of like narrative relevant moments to be able to say I did or did not like this experience.
Yeah, like rolling credits in like The Last of Us Part 2 is a satisfactory claim, because that's the game. That's what the game is this 25-hour campaign, is this content. And then there's some other difficulty modes on top of that, but other than that, this is the game. We're like a game like Armored Core 6, if you just did every main mission once and you never went back or tried to replay the missions or do the score attack or hunt down the hidden parts or the hidden bosses and missions and stuff, or explore the multiple routes, and you just roll the credits once after doing the missions like one time, did you really play the game in a did you really see the game in a satisfactory like way to make a real claim on it? Like, I don't really think so. Like I think you got to replay the missions and participate in like the part grind a little bit, because like that's the core experience in order to really judge Armored Core effectively. Because you could still, I mean, because like you could do whatever the fuck you want, but I just don't think it's very helpful to be like, yeah, I just fucking bum rushed the fucking Armored Core campaign, or I bum rushed like the Cyberpunk 2077 main storyline. It's like, you just skipped all the side quests.
I have to be honest.
There's good writing there. You just missed it because you had to roll credits. Like, it's getting crazy.
I feel this way about Tears of the Kingdom in particular. You said that like you'd like to try the game as just like a 20-30 hour like Zelda campaign, and I'm like, I wonder if that's good. Like, I wonder if you'll actually like feel like you had a real time with it. And you can let me know if you ever do, like if you ever get around to it. But
that's definitely something. Yeah, it's definitely a game I want to play. Although I got to be honest, now I got the 4070 Ti outside in my living room, and I'm like, ooh, PC port time now? Like, is it PC port time? I don't even, I'm like, I don't think I can fucking give it a shit about Breath of the Wild 4K60 or like anything.
The thing
like
about
that.
Ocarina of Time PC port is it's probably going to run better than Tears of the Kingdom is right now. Like, take your time, man. Like, play Phantom Liberty, play, like, there's something else that's coming out.
It's not Frontiers DLC.
Yeah, that's the Frontiers DLC on the 28th. Like, just, man, take your time, relax. Yuzu needs to cook, man. Like, I say this as someone who, like, I was so excited to jump in after I got this really nice computer, and I thought, man, Yuzu's gonna run perfectly, and I was like, oh, it's still struggling. take your time, relax, kick your feet up.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I'm in. Trust me. Oh my god, I got so much fucking shit to play right now.
You'll be fine. Yeah, like you have. I mean, you're doing another Kenshi run. Like I know you put.
I paused that. I played about 13 hours of the Slave Run. I said, okay, I'm good. I'm gonna stop now.
Well, I know you want to do the Cyberpunk DLC. I assume.
Yeah,
next.
yeah. I think. Yeah, at very least, I want to do 2.0 and Sonic Frontiers. I might wait on Cyberpunk just time wise.
Right.
Depending. I'm playing through Rogue Legacy 2 right now, which is stupid good, Miles. Oh my god, I was telling you,
play it.
Arguably best like sequel ever. Like when it comes to like
actually building on the last game and making it better and just
like Resident Evil 4 masterpiece. Resident Evil 4 not a great gaming sequel, you know, just a great game.
We don't get classic sequels anymore. We really don't.
Yeah, not really. Like I feel like what I compare Rogue Legacy 2 to is Ratchet and Clank 2 Going Commando. Because like Ratchet and Clank 2 has the weapon upgrading system, which puts a total focus on that, completely overhauls how weapon sort of aiming and strafing works. So it's just way more fun to control and platform around and shoot with Ratchet. And the game just has a better looking color palette. It's like brighter. The weapons are just way better. The upgraded weapons are awesome. The new game plus is super fleshed out. And they took everything about Ratchet 1 that really worked and just made it look like a fucking primitive piece of shit.
Which is what a sequel I would like from most sequels. Like I would like it if and again, like I can't call it. I truly cannot call it because I have to play it more than once. But like I love the fact that when I played Tears of the Kingdom, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of good here. I'm kind of good with the Breath of the Wild.
There's a lot. There's like so many aspects.
I would like to think like I always look forward to that with a sequel. Like I would love it if Death Stranding 2 just made it so Death Stranding 1 was just this thing I had my time with, and then
like what the fuck were we playing type of shit.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's how it makes me reflect on Rogue Legacy 1, which is a game I fucking love to death and have put in like 70 hours in a collective over my life. Like I fucking love Rogue Legacy 1. And 2 is just like, yeah, bro, every class has its own weapon and its own fucking style play, and they rank up individually in the gold looting and leveling in between your heirs is everything you remember it being and way more. And
yeah, it's different from like a Hotline Miami 2, where that sequel is so like it leaves so much about the first game that you can prefer. Which is very
exactly.
It's very like every sequel is different and every game is going to have people who always prefer the predecessor. Like not every sequel is going to be better per se. Like I'd like to think, for example, that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will just kick remakes ass. Because it's just it's adapting better material, as in my opinion, and they can refine the combat, and I like the environments more. I like the story that is telling more, but like the possibility that it is just worse does exist.
Yeah, because it's also more open world than what was going on in Midgar.
I assume it's a bit like open zone, kind of more Sonic Frontiers-esque.
Well, yeah. Hell yeah.
Which is great. I'm fine with that. But like that possibility always exists. And so it's really nice when you get a sequel where you're like, what's the point? Why would I ever do it again? Why would I ever go back to like, there's other sequels like this where it's just so much better. I mean, I feel this way with Crash 2. Like, I'm not the biggest Crash fan, but like Crash 2 is just makes you look at Crash 1 and go, wow, really? This was the best this was the best you got, huh? Whereas like Sunshine, you look back at 64 and I got to give Nintendo a lot of props for this. Like all their sequels are very different. They don't supplant each other all that well. Some people feel this way about Resident Evil 2 with Resident Evil. I disagree personally.
Yeah, I would argue, despite me loving Super Mario Bros. 1, I'd argue Super Mario Bros. 3, I'd argue, is one of the great gaming sequels. I feel like it takes the platforming formula that was established in 1 and Lost Levels and is
it's still so different. It's just like that Mario Bros still has that value, whereas like Rogue Legacy 2, from what it sounds like, is just a better Rogue Legacy. Whereas like there are things about Super Mario Bros. 1 that's nice. It's shorter, like the momentum is completely different. The warps, like you can just kind of knock out a 5-minute run of the game. Like
there's still an appeal to playing Super Mario Bros. 1 as well as 3, and they're both good. And Lost Levels, of course, shout out, and Mario USA. I also like that game. We gotta give a love to everything.
That NES Mario trilogy, man, it's all good. It's all good shit.
But yeah, anyways, let's get back to some questions. One last one from our friend Unbound. Myles, do you prefer video games that have like variants and like RNG elements, or are very consistent on a sort of playthrough to playthrough basis?
That's really tough. I think I like consistency more. I really like consistency. And obviously every game has RNG. Every game has like slightly unpredictable elements. But I think the less of them there are, the more inclined I am to replay it, because I really like the opportunity to kind of master those systems, that kind of clockwork element of like, okay, I know this encounter's coming up. And I know if I save my special sauce for this part, like I can get through it really fast. And so that's really fun for me, that level of consistency. But there are some games where I think I would vastly prefer like a little bit of like variable to it. It really does depend.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Because like, there's definitely some games like I definitely like all the roguelites I really like. So like Returnal and like Hades. Like one of the biggest complaints online about Returnal is people were like, "Oh, the RNG," and whenever I see that, I'm like, skill issue, fucking skill issue, actually for real. Because once you reach a certain skill level at that game, the RNG is irrelevant. Every weapon, it's like, yeah, anything could be god tier. Like you can make anything goated at a certain point by just taking what you're given. That's a big thing
that Hades players always talk about, is like eventually you get good at all 6 weapons.
You get good at all six weapons, and B, you also get good at coming up with on the fly combos based on the choices that you're given in a run. Like you might not always be able to nail exactly what you want or be given the best rarity for the boons you want, but you can find small ways and make decisions throughout your run to manipulate your build to something, to like an idea. And that makes the RNG really fun, because when you do get your build, it's like, fuck yeah. This is why I like Vampire Survivors, which did you play that from a couple years ago?
No, I really need to.
It's really fucking awesome, dude. It's just a great way. It's just a great game if you need to be engaged in something audio-wise, but you need to do something with your hands because you got problems or something. That's me. I'm that person. And that was a great game to play, like, when I was like really into it. I just kind of fell off due to natural reasons, but I played like 35 hours of it. It's really fucking good. And that's a game where you can get to a level of experience with understanding the game, and B, allowed actual physical rerolls and being able to like sort of like X-nay shit from appearing in certain runs, that you can go into a stage, be like, I want these 6 exact weapons and these 6 exact bonus items, and guarantee yourself to get them like every single time by just being a fucking master manipulator and understanding the RNG elements. And it's really sick. It's awesome.
I want to say this before I forget, because I think I realized the exact perfect game where like it has RNG variables and it is so much worse for it. It doesn't need them. Hotline Miami 2, like I mentioned it earlier, but like the fact that like the guns can be different, like some enemies are like patrollers, but they don't actually have like pathing. They just like there's one room that I love in, I think it's, if it's not Stronghold, I think it is Stronghold. It's the Hawaii level where you like raid a hotel, like an occupied hotel, and there's these like tiny little rooms that for some reason enemies are patrolling in instead of like staring out the windows, right? And the room is so small, they just like bounce around like the DVD logo. Like it's like, what are you doing? And like depending on where they're bounced around, like they can just turn around, it whip you instantly. Like it's so unnecessary. It's one of the most like unnecessary game design moments, especially because it's like you have to kick the door in, and if they're like at a point where the door is gonna block your shot, you're dead. It's just over for you. And it just didn't need to be like that. And sometimes it's worth it, because here's the thing. In any instance, there are times in which it both is and isn't worth it. Like any game where that level of randomness exists. Sometimes it is worth it. Sometimes it isn't worth it. And I think that is one of those cases where it's more often not worth it. And I can't think of a lot of times where the game is better for a lack of consistency. I truly can't.
Yeah, definitely not.
I watched one of those video. Like every game has this video, Sam. Every game has the same video. Like every game that is even mildly controversial has a video. X is a misunderstood masterpiece, and it's like, no, I understand it perfectly well, my friend. I don't agree. And I love Hotline Miami too. Like I'm on record as saying, like, despite that game's problems, like as a score chasing game, that's like one of the most addicting ones for me. But like it's one of the videos that made me like the game less. And it's so funny because that's like the exact point in the video. But like I've always found Hotline Miami's storytelling really like alluring, because it always makes you think that it's deeper than it is.
You're so right, dude. You're so right.
Because nothing happens in that game. Like nothing.
No.
Like it's a really like the best.
You play it and you think it's about something. That's what the long and short of it is.
Yeah, like you play it and it is filling out the story of that world, but it's information I kind of didn't want. Like now that it's like demystified, I don't want to know any of this shit. Like in fact, the puzzle piece ending of Hotline Miami 1, like I remember feeling like I got punched in the stomach. It's that like Death Stranding ending where like the ending keeps dragging on and you're like, oh no, why am I here? Oh no, the story's falling apart. Oh no. And then it redeems itself. But it didn't redeem itself. I just was done. And I was like, I didn't want to know that. I don't want to know why I was doing this shit.
Yeah, because it's like, and it's so funny too, because like Hotline Miami 1, it's like just like playing the fucking game is like an interesting fucking narrative. Like I don't. Do you think I was fucking reading that text? I'm like, X.
I like the text because of just like how it's so sparse. It's all so sparse, and you can just like kind of take it in. It's like poetry. Like if you really read poetry, you don't. It's not about like understanding the poetry. It's just about like kind of letting the poet kind of build an image in your mind. And because a lot of poetry is just like beautiful words trying to build an image. And the more you try and like search for meaning in poetry, like the more you kind of realize it's all there. Like it's kind of all explained to you in the poem. It's just the words are not meant to like, the words aren't meant to be confusing. They're just meant to be very beautiful and evocative. And if you like really get hung up on like the meaning of the words, poems become really obnoxious. Like Hotline Miami is like poetry, where it's like the dialogue is just like as well written as it needs to be, and it's very direct, and it's also very sparse, and every word that is in that story is as good as it should be, or as like plain as it should be. Like whereas like Hotline Miami 2, like a lot of those cutscenes, just people going.
Dude. Like nothing beats in fucking the end of Jacket's story in Hotline Miami 1, where he's on top of the fucking skyscraper and he fucking lights the
cigarette and tosses Polaroid something. Yeah,
you know, it's a Polaroid, I think.
No, but you don't know at the time. Like it's really hard to tell what it is. Like you assume it's a photograph, but
it looks like a photograph.
I thought it was a photograph as well. But you don't know.
It kind of flies, it floats in the wind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is awesome. This is such a cool scene. I think about that shot all the time, by the way.
Yeah, and the fact that
him lighting it on fire and tossing it.
Yeah, the fact that it's so like ambiguous as to what even happened and what happens next. You're not sure if Jacket understood any of it. You certainly didn't understand any of it. And like you kind of are okay with that, and it's great. And Hotline Miami 2 like really uses like jumbled storytelling to kind of make you think something is happening and it's not. It's really interesting, and it's especially because I'm a big like proponent of like like the MGS5 story is about like that kind of aimlessness, that loss, like just not really knowing what you're supposed to do when you've just lived too long. But the aimlessness of Hollow Knight 2, like it's about the pointlessness of violence, but like we already did that. We already did that the first time. And it's also about like sequels and how like everyone wants something different out of a sequel, but like it doesn't matter when no one gets anything out of the sequel. Like it's so interesting. It's such a bizarre like attempt at like a commentary, and but the presentation makes you think like, oh, something, I just don't get it. I truly just don't get it. And then I watched this video and I was like, oh my god, it's all surface. It really is that simple. And so it's not a misunderstood masterpiece. I understood it perfectly well. It turns out there was just not
I just didn't think it was that interesting.
Yeah, there was just not more of it, and I haven't had a reason to think about it at all.
Oh my fucking god, dude. Man.
That game did not need RNG elements, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, by the way, shout out the new RaceFic video, by the way, about Ocho, which is kind of like a...
He mentioned,
I bought that game.
He mentioned it's kind of like Hotline Miami, which is cool.
It looks pretty sick. It looks pretty dope. It looks up my alley, so I bought it. I'll play it eventually. Just gotta support these fucking indie devs when they make a good game, man.
When they make a good
game and they only got like 300 reviews on Steam, okay, you can have $15.
And you can't wait for the sale. That's stingy, dude. That's stingy.
Yeah,
you don't wait for the sale.
I won't do that.
You wait for the sale on the AAA games. At the AAA games, you wait for the sale.
Yeah. Or if like you're charging like 30 or 40 bucks or whatever, you can wait on a sale for that. But if it's 15, I'll give you the fucking money. Prototype 2 for 40. I beat that game, by the way. One of the worst final bosses like ever. Like I haven't raged out at a game that hard in a while, bro. Like in a long time.
Final bosses. I don't think people are ready to acknowledge this. Most final bosses aren't good.
I mean,
the startling majority of final bosses are not good.
I mean, if we were to go throughout video game history, I guess that would probably be true. The most modern video game final bosses
ones are terrible, no, but like
Gen 7 final bosses, a majority of Gen 7 final bosses are certainly dog shit, that's for sure.
But I would even say like Gen 4 and 5 final bosses, a lot of them aren't very good either. Like it really depends, because a lot of them are just too simple to like really kick ass. Wily, big exception. Huge exception every time. Awesome. Yeah, like that's a good one. I would say most Castlevania games, huge exception, but like the Castlevania 2 final boss is garbage. Like,
yeah, that sucks. That sucks.
Ganon's fucking sucks. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Dark Link is better than Ganon as a final boss, and everyone hates Dark Link because he's hard, but at least he's like a real fight that's actually interesting and good.
Yeah, and it's got a phase 1 with like the Thunderbird and shit,
which is great. Mother Brain sucks. Like,
Mother Brain's garbage, dude.
Most final bosses are not very good. Hell, Resident Evil 4, 10 out of 10 masterpiece. Final boss, mid.
Oh, Marx is good though, from Kirby Superstar.
Marx is great. Marx is one of the best for sure. I mean, like that's the thing. The Nintendo era
most
final bosses.
Most of the Kirby final bosses are actually pretty good.
Nintendo era final bosses for the SNES, really good. Typically, the Ganon fight,
Link's Away, Bowser, Mario World.
Link to the Past. Yeah, Mario World's Bowser is probably one of the better 2D Bowsers. I would say probably the best 2D Bowser of like the Sprite era, for sure.
Can't forget Kefka, of course, from Final Fantasy VI.
Kefka,
Squaresoft, excuse me.
One of the... Well, here's the thing. Final Fantasy's never really done poorly on the final bosses. All of the final bosses in almost every Final Fantasy is like perfect. Like, it's exactly as good as it needs to be. Chaos is great, dude. Like, he doesn't have enough HP for my liking, but, like, his attack pool is so great. It's so devastating. Yeah, but like most final bosses are terrible, but Gen 7 is like particularly heinous. Like that's one of the, I would call it the worst final boss era of all time.
It's just because a lot of the nature of games from that era, which is fucked up because I'm saying what I'm about to say does not apply to Prototype literally at all, so it's doubly fucked that they failed here. Is that like, because I remember doing a boss fight in Watch Dogs and like cracking my ass off because it was literally just a guy with body armor on and he took one extra shotgun blast, and I'm like, you can't. And that was a moment when I was like 14 or 15, and I was like, you can't do traditional boss fights when you're playing as normal human doofuses. And like that's what most like game protagonists were starting to be like in Far Cry and stuff. You can maybe fake it with like oh, you got drugged up or whatever, so you're
The
hallucinating.
Hotline Miami 2 final boss.
Yeah.
Which
like,
that is a great part of the game, and they did a good job there, but yeah, like it's so tough, and especially that era when everyone really liked realism. I do have to give some props to the final boss of Uncharted 2. I think for like a normal guy,
this Myles, you're spitting a rare take right now. Fucking not even Uncharted fans like this boss fight.
I think for a normal guy, they did about as well as they could. Where it's like you don't actually fight him directly.
I have to agree with you.
You shoot the polyps and they damage him. Like that's probably the best way that you could handle this.
I don't think it's. People always talk about like it's the fucking worst part of the game, and I'm like, it's not that bad.
It might be
not horrible.
It actually might be the worst part of the game, but like that's, as someone who doesn't even like the game, I think the rest of it is just of a higher quality. It's just not for me, you know? Like it's just not my thing. But yeah, like even then, like I would call the Resident Evil 4's final boss the worst part of the game, and like that's not horrible either. Like, so
I'll say this: Uncharted 2's fucking final boss is better than Uncharted 3's final boss, which is fucking quick time event.
Yeah, which is god awful. I love that in Shadow of Mordor, Sauron is defeated by a quick time event. That's like one of the greatest jokes of all time in video games. It's god tier.
Oh my god!
But before we start talking about terrible final bosses and good final bosses, we gotta keep going here.
Yeah. That's enough of the boss talk. Let's see. Tot in our Discord. You know who that is? TOT.
No, I actually don't. I need to start showing up more. I know all the people who came because of like they're my friends. I know all those guys, but
yeah. And for the record, Todd, I know who you are in the Discord. I just don't know if you have a name or how to pronounce it because it uses the degree symbol. But anyways, do the crackheads ever plan on getting married?
Sam, do you want to field this? Because I think I know your answer.
Yeah, I'll field it. I'll go first. I mean, I would like to get married. I can see myself eventually getting married down the line, but I don't know. I've thought a lot about dating like recently now that I've like moved out and stuff, but it's just like, man, it's complicated. I don't really know how I feel right now about like working in someone else into like my like daily life in like that way, like right now. Like that seems really complicated and a lot of work, and it's something I never ever really gave much thought to because I haven't really done that much dating. I was like, yeah, it's a lot of work. There's a lot like that goes into this, and like it's complicated, and there's a lot to do, and it's not saying it's not worth doing. It's just that like, oh yeah, like this is not something to be treated lightly. So it's like one of these things where it's like, yeah, I'm not like really pursuing it like actively right now, but I can imagine it. I can imagine it down the line. What about you, Myles? You see,
so you might have forgotten this.
In your future,
you might have forgotten
not.
this. We spoke about in college when we turn 50, and if neither of us are married, we're going to get a civil union license for tax benefits. Do you remember this conversation?
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
I remember this. So I'm sticking to that story. If Sam and I are both 50 years old, well, I'll be 51, and we're not married, the crackheads are getting a civil union license, and
the crackheads get a civil union.
Yeah.
I'm watching that show, by the way, right now.
Oh yeah, that's great, dude. We definitely have to talk about that.
All the episode where they all pretend to be crippled is like so fucking good.
It's pretty god tier, and it is funny like watching Seinfeld, especially towards the end. Like it starts to become It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia around like season 7, and so it feels like It's Always Sunny is like a continuation of like how horrible those characters end up in the show. It's very interesting. Like kind of Seinfeld sort of made television unlikable. It's an interesting show to watch, like to just see people like become really shitty and like that becomes their personalities. It's really fun. And it's definitely, that is a very seminal show, and you can see why. But the thing is, like I think I would like to have a wedding, and then I would like to divorce the girl immediately. I'm such an ostentatious, foppish man that like I am a bride. I dream about the wedding. But once the wedding's over, I'm done. I'm done with this hoe, and she's out of my life. And
What is it about the wedding that you want?
Because it's a big ass celebration where you get a nice ass cake and it's all about you for 24 hours.
Okay.
It's like a bar mitzvah, but someone else kind of shares it with you, which happened to me, so it's fine. It's the same shit.
And I understand that this is problematic because you also share this, but like your birthday is something that you can make all about you for real. And you could do that every year, and you don't have to spend $35,000 on a wedding venue.
Yeah, like I love the idea of
and your entire rest of your savings in fucking divorce fees and fucking
that's why I want to meet a woman who wants to get married to have the wedding, and we're gonna sign a prenup the day we meet. Or
you guys just don't get married on the government level. And
we just have a wedding
and you do it.
We just have a wedding, and we have a wedding party, and we just pretend we're getting married, and like that's an It's Always Sunny episode where they pretend to have a wedding just to have the party. Like that's an episode right there. So that's what I want to do. But I do believe I'm always open to the possibility of romance in the future, but like I always tell people, like I'm kind of married to my grind at the moment. Like I really just I want
Sigma grind set, baby,
dude. I actually
on my grind.
It's so funny because like I'm such a fucking geek, like but I actually kind of am on the Sigma grind set, and I hate saying it, but like. It's
true, right? It's like one of these things you can't help it. Like,
yeah, because that's just what I want to do.
It is the kind of the same thing for me. It's like I mean, if we're asking honestly, it's like I am kind of prioritizing work right now. It's like I guess that is you can quantify that as Sigma grind set. Technically, that would not be wrong.
Can I just say the show is over? Like the show is done for because Sam and I not only have jobs, we have nice jobs, and like. I just got a new job last week, and I've been doing that, and it pays more than I've ever thought that I could be paid. Like in a way where like the number itself, like I just say it and I'm like, yeah, like I feel so good about the number that I get paid an hour. It is such a nice number. It's not 69, by the way.
Don't worry, it's not that nice.
It's not quite that nice. I wish it was, dude. I would love to make $69 an hour. That'd be so boss. But like I just love how much money I'm making. And then I also thought to myself, shit, I'm gonna be rich. And rich is not this show's aesthetic at all. Rich is not the aesthetic of Crackhouse. And so like we're already talking about our rebrand to just Miku's house because we're going out to the suburbs. We're gonna
Miku's suburban starter home.
Yeah, the starter home, dude. That's the other thing. That's the other reason you have a wedding, dude. The starter home. You put up on your registry like, yeah, help us fund a house, and you just have people pay for your house. Dude, wedding GoFundMe. That's a wedding scam. Like that's a great GoFundMe or Kickstarter scam. Like that Izzy, whatever her name is.
This someone already came up with this brilliant idea to go fund their wedding.
This would be like something that she would cover. That fucking Australian girl, whatever her name is.
The nose ring. I think I've seen her. Yeah, she covers like scams or something.
Sarah Zed would probably also cover it. Like.
Yeah,
if it was related to Tumblr.
The Tumblr crowd, if it was a big controversial thing in the Tumblr or the spin-off generations,
Zed would cover it, but
definitely,
yeah, that's a great scam right there. But no, I mean I don't mean to be a cynic about it or anything. Like I'm not one of the I despise people who are like Happy Single Awareness Day like on Valentine's Day. It's like no, just let people have their day. Like, but you should love someone every day. Of course, but. Now is a great like excuse to be able to say, hey, you know what? Our lives are busy. We are going to find time on this day to like really celebrate what we have. Like that's what it's really about. Like
it can both be a super corporatized fake bullshit holiday that also has some value because while arbitrary does make you think about and give respect to your partner in the same way that Mother's Day and Father's Day and Thanksgiving are same kind of vibes. I mean, Thanksgiving's a little different. Thanksgiving's got some cultural history. I don't really know the history of Mother and Father's Day, but you get the point. Like, it's to make you fucking. It's arbitrary, but it's just to make you be a little thankful for, your folks or, what you got in life. And
speaking of Thanksgiving, I really wish we could transition into a topic that we wanted to discuss last week, because it's absolutely perfect for the Thanksgiving feast, but we'll get to that another time. Yeah, I mean, so that's I'm not trying to say that as a cynical thing. Like, I truly do believe if I met someone, I would really I would love to settle down with them, and I would love to have a family. Actually, like, I would love to be a dad.
Yeah, that's a follow-up question: is do the crackheads plan on having any children?
Well, I think I know your answer.
I mean, I've been a pretty staunch no for a long time. I've kind of, I don't know. My no is still a no, but it's become a softer no. It's like a medium hard no instead of a hard no now. And it's mostly just turned that way because it's out of it's just out of the logistics of it happening. Like, I don't even really want to try to go down that road unless I'm in a pretty decent financial situation, and that it's going to be, the kid's going to be able to grow up in a good
stable environment. Yeah.
And I only would want to do it if specifically the person I'm with, I would feel comfortable with having a kid with them, and that might not be the case for the person I'm interested in end up marrying. It just might be different. It's one of these things where it's I gotta know who I'm dating, and that's gonna be my family. Like, my dad's side has a fucking family fucking JoJo style bloodline problem of just the dating period is extremely long amounts of time. Like, my folks dated for 6 years before they got married. Like, my cousin, one of my cousins did it. It took 10 years to get married. I got another cousin who's even longer than that they dated before they actually officially got married. So I just know. I'm not even I'm people are yeah, get married in 2-3 years. That shit, I'm oh.
Yeah,
couldn't be me.
People who
couldn't
have that
me.
I want to be married before a certain age. I have a lot of friends who are yeah, I mean, I want to be married before 30. I'm I wouldn't even consider marriage before 30.
Yeah, and don't worry, I'm not completely ignorant. I definitely understand for the
that's some people's
for the female
dreams, or some people's
out there. Yeah, especially the biological clock that everyone likes to talk about and weaponize, which it's real, but don't pressure fucking.
Well, that's
women.
why we get to marry younger broads.
Yeah, that's how we get away with it. And also, I'm also of the double benefit that I'm not it's not a particular priority of me to have kids. Where I got a good buddy right now, a close friend I went to school with. He's a father of 2, and his kids are great, and he's super happy because that's something that he wanted. And
I'm always interested. I'm always interested when I meet people who want kids, because it's so uncommon nowadays.
And
especially now that Shinzo Abe is dead, it's who's who's going to remind us.
And this is fucking one step further, because it's not even, this is not in someone who wants kids. This is someone who has kids and is by all means thriving on his second home. On his second home. It's that's not something that people our age are doing right now. I just moved into an apartment after being with my folks for 4 years after college, basically. So it's it's just where your priorities lie, and right now my priorities is not really to have children, but I can imagine that potentially changing down the line if I do get in a serious relationship, and I can see me wanting to have kids with this person. But if that's not on the top of my mind, then it's no.
Yeah, I think there's just too much that I want to finish first. So when that's done, I'll probably make some room in my life. But at this time, that's what I say to that question.
Yeah, and then to kind of follow up on this line of thought about getting married and having kids, Julian asks, are the crackheads all about that trad life? Now, I think it kind of, I feel it's funny. It's funny because trad life, there's a lot of there's just a lot of like
it's got a lot of connotations.
Thank you. It's got a lot of like negative like connotations to it because it's like associated with like red pill type stuff, which like automatically like people negatively associate with. And I feel like depending on how you identify like trad life, I feel like I kind of fit it, and then in other ways I totally do not fit it at all. It like really just kind of depends, because like for a while I thought like I did not want to do a trad lifestyle. I wanted to live a more like alternative lifestyle, and I just accepted that it's just not for me. It's what.
Did I actually just mentally manipulate you into saying mead?
Mead.
Yeah. Did I actually, like, I just put that thought in your head by saying it means he wanted to smoke weed?
Yeah, I wanted to fucking fuck off and smoke weed. Or, well, I just didn't want to do the 9 to 5, because I did the 9 to 5 when I graduated school for 10 months and it was a really dog shit job. But I kind of realized like a few years kind of removed from that's like, well, that might not be the case at every gig. And I also realized that I don't really have a grand career goal or dream job or anything I like actually want to truly do in a full-time capacity. Like, I thought I wanted to do YouTube in a full-time capacity, and I don't. YouTube stresses me the fuck out, Myles.
Yeah.
It gives me a lot of agita and brings me a lot of ire. I'd much rather just make good videos that I can be happy with and just make money another way. And like that's kind of that's kind of the route I'm going right now, and we'll see. Because like right now, I'm definitely heading towards a trad lifestyle, like absolutely heading towards a trad lifestyle completely. But I don't know. It's good and bad. It just is. You know, it's not like. It's just about like what you want.
What you want in a life. Yeah, I think the thing about me is that like I would like to start my own company. Like I'm not even sure if company. Yeah, it would be a company. That's just what it's called. Like, but when you think I would like to start my own company, I think people imagine like either you want to be like Steve Wozniak or you want to be like
or a drop shipper.
Yeah, something like that. So you know, you want to be like Jeff Probst on the plane going into Australia. Can I talk about the Jeff Probst point for just 1 second?
The finger point?
The finger point, yeah.
You got 120 seconds. You got 120 seconds.
Okay,
go.
You're giving me way more time than I need. Okay, so basically, whenever Jeff is in a challenge and someone, like, does something wrong, he, like, walks into frame, pointing at them like this. But, like, the thing is, there's a sideways shot of him pointing, and all of his muscles are just bulging on his arm.
Flexing.
Yeah, so, like, it is, like, he is filled with so much power as he tells you that you were not in the attack zone when you made contact. And
dude, your cadence was perfect there. Holy shit, it was just like the real thing.
Sam, do you understand how much Jeff Probst I've consumed in the last several months? In the last several months,
an absurd amount. Everybody listening to this knows it's an obscene amount.
It's more than anyone else my age has consumed in the last several months. So yeah, I'm really Probst built these days, but yeah, I want to like. I don't know if that counts as part of the trad lifestyle, as like having your own sort of business. It probably does, right?
I mean, it's well, because here's the deal. It depends on how you identify it. Because some people would say like trad life is a more like is a sort of family oriented thing where it's like getting married and like having kids and like that style of trad life. Then there's my sort of perspective on trad life, which is like a work perspective. And to me, it's like, yeah, I'm working at I'm going to be working at an office.
You got a job at
like,
Arby's.
Yeah. You know me, flipping fucking burgers, doing anything.
Hey,
I can
they
to
have
buck.
beef. They don't flip burgers. They have like roast beef and cheese.
I don't eat at Arby's.
I don't
know
either.
What they have.
I know they have One Piece advertisements.
They do. They have a lot of fucking anime. They try to appeal to gamers. They were on that early. They knew that was a market they could corner quick.
And by the way, I was eating it up, even though I wasn't going to Arby's. I just thought it was cool that they did that.
Yeah, because it was novel at the time.
Yeah.
So it was
the Wendy's too. when
yeah,
it was
then everyone
obvious,
started doing it, and then it sucked.
Yeah, and it was terrible, and now I don't want to talk about it ever again. What a horrible era. What a horrible era of time. But yeah, I mean, I guess I would say no. I'm really not interested in the trad life. I have no interest in like the family, and as far as work goes, like my job to me is to fuel like more artistic endeavors, like more kind of passion projects, like as opposed to ever like I would gladly live in an apartment for the rest of my life and just like, kind of like live relatively dirt cheap and put the vast majority of my money towards like seeing kind of grander visions that I have coming to life, because shit's expensive, but it's worth it.
And when you go the full-time like artist route or full-time creative route, you just gotta make a lot, like it just requires you to make a lot of sacrifices on the creative front to do it in a full-time capacity that just like I just don't want to do,
especially on YouTube.
I'm a control freak.
I don't blame you like for not want like I don't blame you for not wanting to do YouTube, because it's so appealing from like a checks perspective, but like you have to be someone that you're probably gonna hate after a while.
It's like that's the thing, is it's just like I just don't want to make content in a way that would like, because like I could imagine some ways to like create content to like get people interested, but like I just don't want to make that stuff because like I'm not interested in it, and I just like this is not what I got into this whole. This is not why I started making videos in the first place. As I started making this shit because it was like fun and I had something to say and wanted to express myself, not to fucking pat myself on the back and be told I'm fucking good, like, you know, or to get a lot of views or money or anything. It's like,
yeah, and sadly, like what gets clicks now is like there was some video that had like a really hysterical, it's because all these videos about like interesting games or anime, that's always like this anime is crazy, you know, like that's always the title. And it was so funny because it was about Princess Tutu, and it said something about like it was like this anime will blow your mind, or like one of these things, and I'm like, all right, buddy, hang on, this is like my favorite anime, but like blow your mind, really? It's just very next to very fucking paranoia agent or serial experiments lane. It's like, okay, buddy.
Yeah, and it's like it's like very over the top, and it's like, and especially in like in games, like I've just like eventually realized it's like you need to really like put in the work to like stand out with like games like coverage or games analysis or games anything on YouTube. Like you really got to either be doing something radically unique, or you just have to make like the fucking killer video. It feels like it's a requirement. Where I'm trying to do some stuff with manga that like still like is going to require like some work and effort, but it's like that at least there's way less competition in that field on YouTube right now, and it's sad. I wish there were more videos. But like even before we hopped on this call, Myles, I was listening to a YouTube video of this guy who's reading through One Piece with his mom, and his mom's a fucking literary teacher. So she's reading the first very early sections of the story and pulling at, you know, themes and big ideas that a lot of people don't really catch on to until hundreds of chapters into the story. So her insight's really fucking interesting, and her relationship with her son is very cute, and their banter is very fun, and it's just a joyous, fun listen as a One Piece fan who enjoys listening to people's takes, because I'm getting something that's really interesting and fun from a unique perspective. And the video is nothing. It's a fucking live stream, Myles. The video is two people talking. It's nothing. It's not no content. Like there's no crazy editing or graphics or anything. It's just a fucking stream.
It's so funny when you think about podcasts, and I'm about to throw a stone at our glass Crackhouse, but like I whenever I think of podcasts, and like whenever I explain that I have a podcast, like podcasts are not as lively as this one, typically. Podcasts are usually a lot more low-key. Like, most podcasts, the impersonation I'll give is, I mean, like, when you go to the Starbucks and you get in the line, it's like, what are you supposed to do besides be on your phone? Like, all of those people at the Starbucks, they're all there for the same thing. So we could talk to them, but we all get on our phone. That's like deep, isn't it? Like, that's like every podcast that I can think of. It's like people, and they always have this pose, by the way.
Yeah, they are always doing that.
They're always sitting like that, and when they talk, their hand is like they have like the gay raptor hand. So here's the thing. Gay, autistic, okay? So they always have the gay hand. Sorry, I was incorrect because they never do the raptor. They always do the gay. And they're like, when they talk, they have the gay and it like flips upside down, so flipping back and forth like a burger, fucking Krabby Patty ass hands, and it's just like that's what podcasts are to most people. And that shit makes money. And it's the same shit. It's one guy's got a beard, one guy's got glasses, and one guy's always wearing a beanie, and I don't know why. One of them's fat, and he always wears t-shirts. He's the funniest one, by the way. Like, that's just every fucking podcast. It's so weird.
Yeah, at least, there's just the two of us.
Yeah, it's just
and
the
we
two
don't
of us,
talk
and we're
about anything
idiots.
of merit.
We're just fucking morons. Well, neither do they, typically, but we are just two fucking idiots who are way too awake to be doing a podcast. And I guess what I'm trying to say is like with content like that, it's just not conventional for like a trad life because it's so unstable. Like to have a family on YouTube like seems really hard. It seems really tough.
It's one of these things where it's like once you get to a certain point of popularity, the snowball will continue to roll, and as long as you stay on the ball, like you'll be able to make so much money in a few years that you would be able to set yourself up for a really long time. So even if it did go away or start to fade or lose steam, like you'd still be able to operate in great, like a really, major capacity. Like Myles, I bet you haven't thought about fucking Game Grumps in fucking 5 years yet. They're still fucking cooking.
I have a friend who still follows them. So I do think about them probably more than the average man does. But like Germa's the new Game Grumps, like as far as that goes, like people's kind of obsession.
Oh yeah. And there's plenty of other streamers too that are popular, and their time will eventually fade too from popular.
Hell, I gotta be honest, I think VTubers are starting to kind of go away a little bit. Like not a ton, but like I think that their like dominance is really kind of, and the same thing happened to Keys and I, to be fair. Keys and I used to be huge. And like just now VTubers in general like are slowly starting to fizzle out. Not enough that I would say like it's like a dead thing. I don't think it's ever going to be, but it's not like this. I don't think there's going to be another Corone, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, no.
There's never going to be another Gura, like
yeah, nothing that hits any sort of like mainstream internet like in any
all I know is
way.
Hideo Kojima is apparently a Pecora fan, which is great.
Oh, that's awesome,
like so sick. He's got like a picture of him like holding the plushies in like a fucking carrot field. Like it's so weird. It's an incredible image.
Yeah, Pecora is dope. I like the third gen. They just did. I will say about HoloLive. I will give them this, is that I feel like they could have just been like pumped out like 70 fucking of these bitches in like 3 years for the English audience, and they're like, all right, we're gonna do one gen, and here's them for like a year and a half, and then here's 5 more, and then here's another like year and a half, and then there's 5 more. It's like, okay, I respect the like not.
They didn't saturate.
Not marveling it, like I respect you not just being like every fucking 2 months there's fucking a new batch of them, and we're on the 12th gen.
Phase 4 of HoloLive.
HoloLive.
Like Kevin Feige standing in front of his thing. He's announcing the fucking Pecora movie.
Yeah. But yeah, I like Shirori a lot. She's really cute. She's the goth one. She's the new goth one. I like her a lot.
No, I've seen that dope design around because of course I have.
Fucking fire, dude.
Yeah, it's really good. We got more questions, I assume.
Yes, we do. Another one from Julian. Is there a guest episode in the near future?
We have one planned. I just have to reach out to the guy. I think it's going to be a good episode.
Episode 175, Tom will come back.
Tom will come back for 175,
to celebrate the 75th episode of season 2 of Crackhouse.
We do have a guest episode planned, but the way that we want to do it is not to have them be here for a whole episode. But like, we would like to do it as like a special segment with them, and like if it's like a full length episode, it's a full length episode. If it's not, it's not.
But we kind of talk. Yeah,
well, like just talk to them and also kind of have our like I think the idea for guests is to have a very Crackhouse conversation with people who are interesting to us, which is like not just to ask the questions, but like also to ask like things that are like tangentially bizarre about them. Imagine an unironic Ollie G interview, I think is the best way to put it. Because we asked them if like what words they know, stuff like that, right? Like
where do you get your ideas from?
Yeah, stuff like that. So I do have one in mind, and we're kind of just waiting for the right time to do it. But I would really like to have this person on the show, and Sam has co-signed this person as well. But we just haven't really. There's just not.
We just haven't really pursued it at all. To me personally, like, I think Crackhouse is just the two of us fucking booling, and I feel any third edition threatens the balance greatly. And they didn't even have to do anything, and like they just being there already fucks it all up.
Yeah,
and they didn't even say anything, because this is the thing, is like I'm used to talking to you, and you're used to talking to me. You throw a fucking you throw Kurt Angle in the mix, and it's all fucked up. It gets all fucked up because I don't want to overstep on talking over anyone, and
you also want to give the guest a lot of space, and which is fun, but like, people who tune in, you know, like probably would still like to hear from us.
It's also, it's not why you come to Crackhouse. Like you come to Crackhouse every week to listen to fucking us for some fucking stupid reason. I don't know why. Like,
people like this show, and it's always weird to me. It's always so strange when like someone new is like, "Yeah, I like the show." I'm like, "You do? What about it?"
I can understand why people like it, because like we're funny and like there's like good moments, because I crack up like I crack up probably 20 times an episode about the shit we say, because I don't give a fuck, and I do this show for fun. Same with you. Like, we just do this because it's like we don't give a fuck. That's why we title the episodes bullshit. like you know, like the show could be something that does get maybe like 100 views on YouTube if it's something that had a bit more structure to it, or like,
and now we're gonna read the news from the week.
Like, really leaned into like games shit maybe, and like didn't really talk about more esoteric stuff like fucking pedophiles every episode, and fucking zoophiles every episode.
I don't talk about pedophiles. I talk about the internet's reaction to pedophile content about pedophiles. Samuel, it's true crime stuff. It's true crime.
It's in the true crime genre. It's in the true crime genre. But I feel like because of that, like I don't care, because it's just fun. But I feel like the people who do find the show and are able to get through what Mulgar referred to as a maximum security prison to great discussions, which is like such a you get it, you understand. It is perfect.
Yeah,
it is perfect, because that is most Crackhouse episodes. It's like, yeah, there's a really good discussion about this fucking thing in gaming, or this thing in culture on the internet.
It's at the end of the episode.
It's an hour and 15 minutes in, and you have to sit through 50 minutes of them discussing which clips from the Life Would Be a Dream monkey video are what's like, funny is here.
That is the show to me. And I know whenever we have a really interesting episode, like I'm not saying funny, I'm saying interesting. Like, this is more of an interesting episode than a funny episode, as far as I'm concerned.
A 4-star episode, if you will.
Yeah, like a truly 5-star episode, like feels like you have fallen into a Looney Tunes episode. like it feels like you have fallen into a Looney Tunes episode and turned into a Nike logo on the ground, right? Like, that's one of the best Space Jam 2 jokes, by the way. Just saying. Yeah, like, this is the show, what we're doing right now. But I understand, like, I assume that the appeal is kind of all over the place, because the show itself is all over the place. And so I imagine that there's probably some people who want more guest episodes, and I would like to do something for them too. But like, yeah, I mean, it's about finding someone who I think is the right level of degenerate. Like, I would
like
only
a good
want
fit for the show.
The person that I want, I think, probably is the right level. There's probably porno artists like that I could talk about and get them on, like people who do like hentai. I would love to speak to them. But it's also a question of like, are they comfortable in front of the mic? Do they have good equipment? Are they willing to show their face?
That's the other factors of all this stuff too that go into it. So yeah, if we ever do find someone who's so particularly interested, we need to talk to them. It'll just be a bonus thing on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, it'll be an hour to 90 minutes, like maybe even less if there's just not a lot to see. And
it won't really interfere with that week's episode.
That's a Wednesday upload.
That's a Wednesday upload. Yeah, that's a Wednesday upload.
Like the Creator Clash episode, the Wednesday upload.
Yeah, which I think by the way, I think I have like at least like one video. I think I have a fucking another Survivor thing because I know the crackheads love our Survivor.
It's the top five. It's the top five
Survivor
ads, which is it's so funny because we didn't post it. We didn't post the 24 episode either, and I'm referencing both of these. And
we do. The problem with 24 is 24 we got like interrupted partway through.
Yeah, by Riverside, and I was like I was at season 5.
We're in season 5 of that,
and we were like, all right, we'll come back to it, and then just no dice. But yeah, I guess. Do we have another question, by the way?
I think. Let me scroll make sure we got everything. I'm skipping over the power scaling for the New and Old Testament because I don't know enough of the characters.
I might have to do some study on this.
I'd have to do some research as well. In order to.
I had a segment planned for this that I didn't do because I knew we were going to be doing questions. But it's a similar like level of involvement to the power scaling, the Old Testament power scaling.
One last question, Miles. Have you become racist? Have you become a racist yet, Miles? Which leads me to ask you, how many racist actions does it take to go from doing a racist to being a racist?
A 1, a 2, a 3. Yeah, like a 3. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so my sister and I had a thought exercise that that I brought up just over dinner because I find her thoughts very interesting, because she's way more woke than I am, like just unambiguously, just a lot more socially tapped in, and a lot more.
Because we all know you're super woke, Miles, really setting the bar for wokeness.
I'm secretly woke. I don't like to be like. I don't.
It's funny. It's funnier.
Like
if it's obscure.
Yeah, like the fact that I'm kind of able to pull out from the pocket like some really like significant socio-political issues which are being pushed by, for example, the media depictions of certain things or whatever. Like the fact that I'm kind of able to tap into those conversations is like this really it's like how there's always an idiot character in a cartoon, but it's always obligatory for them to say one really smart thing. Like at some point in the show. Yeah, like that's me with like my social awareness, like my ability to be like really understanding of something important that's a really complicated, layered socio-political issue. For me,
1% of the time.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that. I would rather pretend I hate the Jews because I can get away with it. Look at the schnoz. Actually, the schnoz is not big enough. But I do have the lactose. I'm not lactose intolerant, but I do have the my stomach Judaism side of it. So it's not lactose intolerant, but my duodenum. Like I definitely have that. I have the aches. I got the aches and the pains.
Yeah, it was so funny.
It's always too cold. Like I got all that Jewish stuff.
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually thinking about your religion a few days ago because you messaged me at like 3:30 in the morning. I woke up at like 4 a.m. and I saw that you finished. He's like, you sent me a message to Discord like, "Hey, I finished Get Ed." I'm like, "Oh man, you're definitely Jewish because none of fucking Jesus's disciples would fucking finish Get Ed.
Yeah.
Like, this is not how no Christian has finished fucking Get
Bruh,
Ed.
if we wandered the desert for 40 years, we can watch 26 episodes of Get Ed. And by the way, I actually have to give Get Ed some props. Like, I said this to Sam off the record, but I said the thing holding that show back, because I actually think that it is kind of a solid, like, kids action show, like, and the myth arc that they build is fucking delivered on. Like, it's so funny that, like, every fucking Cartoon Network or Disney Channel show has this big myth arc that falls on its fucking face and utterly fails. It's like Star versus the Force of Evil. Everyone thinks this about Steven Universe. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
What can you explain what a myth arc is?
It's always like... Basically, it's when, like, a story has kind of an undercurrent of, like, way bigger elements besides just the cast and the characters.
I understand. Okay.
So like, it's like, yeah, it's a story about the crystal gems, but a space war happened, you know? It's like, yeah, it's a story about Star and Marco, but there's racism and Muni. Like, you know, like, there's... cartoons really love to do this, and they always fucking fail at it, like, horribly. And so I have to give Get Ed some props in that, like, it actually does, like... slowly build up to, like, the revelation that, like, of, like, what Ed is and, like, why he's so, like, strong and advanced. And, like, the villain is like, I'm going to get Ed's DNA. And then he does, and he actually gets Ed's powers. Like, and he, like, he actually destroys the fucking city. Like, and so the Get Ed finale... which was, they had more seasons planned, but it got canned, and then the creator died in 2009, like, really young. So
that's horrible.
Yeah, it sucks because, like, there's no late stage Get Ed reboot. So I was saying, like, yeah, like, the show kind of ends on a high note and actually, like, does, like, deliver on its promises. And it could have been, you know, a lot cooler, but
if just the level of penis wasn't there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. The show is too penis. There is too much penis, like, quality, like, to the show.
Because I was thinking, because I didn't send this, I didn't, like, send this to you on Discord, but I was, like, thinking about it. I'm like, the level of penis is what's keeping, like, Jordan Fringe from doing a video on Get Ed. Like,
Jordan Fringe has done a video on Get Ed.
Yes? Yeah. Oh my god.
It's called Wait, Remember Get Ed?
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I think Get Ed is even too low for Fringe to hit. Like, I even think that I was under the impression it would fall below that. No, I
ended up thinking that it was pretty okay. It was pretty solid for, like, what it was. Like, but it's just so penis. Like, because the real issue about it is, like, just it looks so penis. Like, because the character models don't look bad. It's just that they animate, like, really weirdly, and, like, the shots are too quick, and the music is super penis. Like, it's just... it's good content ruined by penis.
I love the use of the term penis to describe, like, a very, like
shoddy production,
like very shoddy, and, like, you kind of recoil when you see it. Like, you don't really want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously we have some bi and gay listeners probably, but, like, it is, like, I mean, even they probably can admit, like, you don't want to see an unwarranted penis.
Yeah, you just don't want, like, yeah, like, it's like being, you know what it is? It's like seeing penis at the gym locker room. Like, you walk in the gym locker room, you just saw it. Like, you're like, yeah, like, you're not gonna freak out about it was gonna happen, but also, like, I fucking wish I didn't see that.
I didn't need to see that. Like, yeah, the quality of the show just is so penis. But, like, the writing of it ends up, like, the characters are all, like, really consistent. They don't have any moments where you're like, oh, he wouldn't fucking do that. Like, they kind of all stick to the plan, and, like, episodes just aren't completely and totally driven by, like, bullshit, like, terrible decisions that characters make. It's all very consistent. Like, the plots are really, like, action oriented. Everything that happens in them is usually based on, like, the job that they're doing. So characters, like, either kind of have foibles and flaws, or they make a bad decision on the job based on the kind of person they are. It's like, it does everything right. It's just penis. And the premise is terrible. I wouldn't even say it's terrible. I would just say the premise isn't. It's, like, such a baffling premise. It's one of those, like, 2000s premises where the premise is based on a titular character being akin to a superhero. Like, it is like just saying, oh, it's a story about Superman. It's a story about Ed, and Ed lives here. and he does this. Like, that's kind of what it is. Like, Code Lyoko, there is a little bit more of, like, a premise, right? Like, where Xana
Code
exists.
Lyoko, where it's...
There's this mystery of who created
They gotta play
Lyoko.
a evil computer program,
and he affects the real world. Where it's like Get Ed, it just happens to take place in Progress City, and Mr. Bedlam just happens to be a bad guy, and Ed just happens to be, you know, this synthetically altered character. Like, it just is the story of Ed, whom must be got. So I think I actually would say, anyone curious about watching the show who just has a penis tolerance, like, I would actually give it a recommendation.
if you got a high cock tolerance,
if you have the 30% penis resist ring,
Patch's penis,
yeah, ring. Patch's penis ring, and yeah, so I would actually recommend Get Ed. I think, like, it's not a must see.
I think maybe.
The problem is that, like, the penis level is just off the charts. I truly can't protect
because
you
because Code Lyoko does not reach this level of penis at all with most of its art.
Animated
with
segments,
the music it does.
Yeah, the 2D animated segments look good though. Like, that's what helps it to not be penis.
And I gotta be honest though, I don't think the 3D Code Lyoko sections quantify his penis.
No, I really don't. But, like, if there was the full show, it might, because just of production, like, they would probably have to...
if it was the full show, it might look a little whack. I could see the school and stuff, because the reason why Code Lyoko works in 3D is because the sectors are simple. Like, the geometry is simple and it makes sense.
Right.
And, like, it just... They were very smart with how they set it up, limitation wise.
It's a shame they got the Mega Man X3 composer to do the songs, to do the soundtrack.
I know, that was an L.
That was a big dude. That man is a penis maestro. I'm just gonna say it. Like, whoever that guy is who composed the soundtrack, like, he actually is, like, the penis Beethoven. He is the penis Mozart. he has some of the biggest penis music in the game.
I kind of want to. Do you have this episode? I'm gonna look this guy up and, like, find his soundtracks and, like,
and see if it's all penis.
Well, I gotta go to Moby Games. Let's fucking go to Moby Games and just see if we can find this guy. Because if he's not on Moby Games, I'm not gonna be able to fucking find him. Mega Man X3, the best X game, Lamau. Clearly. Fucking X3 sucks, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Just because it's on the Super Nintendo, guys, doesn't mean it's a good game. I don't know what to say.
Blast. Holy shit, that is such a great call out. That is actually such a great call out.
It's true. Like,
no, you're right, because a lot of people would be like, yeah, the SNES ones, they're all great. The PS1 ones all suck. It's like, no, that's not how this works. It's like saying all the NES Mega Man games are, like, perfect. It's like, that's not true.
Okay, so I got it.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Our composer in question, according to Moby Games, which is pretty accurate when it comes to this type of stuff, is Kinuyo Yamashita, a woman who was born on December 31st, 1965 in Amagasaki, Hyogo, Japan. She started playing the piano at age 4 and took lessons as a child. She graduated from Osaka Electrocommunications University in 1986, and then she joined Konami and became a member of the legendary Konami Kukeiha Club. Now, how she got involved in fucking Mega Man X3 as the composer, I have no idea. So we're just gonna go through this. We're here now. So her first credit was Natsume Championship Wrestling in 1994. Then she did Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on SNES. And then some fishing game called Mark Davis Fishing Master.
I'm gonna have to listen to that soundtrack.
Then there's the legendary X3. So this is her second music credit, third if you count a music composer credit in Mark Davis's The Fishing Master, the 1995 SNES masterpiece. Because it's on the Super Nintendo. And then let's see a couple Game Boy games. I'm trying to see if there's anything she did. Oh, she did the sound design for Croc 2 on the Game Boy Color.
Okay.
She also did some Game Boy Advance. She basically became a Game Boy Advance composer. She was the music composer in Metabot's Metabee, so that's the soundtrack we need to look up.
Yeah, that will tell us if Mega Man X3 was just was an accidental dick slip, or if that was like a true dick pic. Like she really hit send on that pic.
Yeah, I've never seen a woman be able to compose quite a level of penis music.
That level of penis music. Well, you know what I'll say? Depending on your perspective, I would actually say that the woman who did the Breath of the Wild soundtrack is capable of some strong penis content, because she also did a lot of Animal Crossing songs, and Animal Crossing has some penis in it. I don't dislike the Animal Crossing soundtrack, but there's a lot of songs that are just really like repetitive loops with some like penis ass instrumentation. So I mean, so, you know, just because you can make penis music doesn't mean that you're destined to be a penis maestro. But I would love to hear more.
And after, so she did Metabot's Metabee on Game Boy Advance, and then also Metabot's Infinity, which is a GameCube game. She also did the sound for the Buffy the Vampire Slayer Wrath of the Dark Bitch, or whatever, Wrath of the Dark Hool King. I don't know Buffy. I don't know
either.
And then she, in 2010, did the music for a browser game called Stickvania, which I don't know anything about. And then in 2014, she's in the special thanks for Gunhound EX and has no other credits after that.
What a fucking
her last
career.
Credits in the games industry was like 2010. So I love reading, by the way, about people like Kino Yamashita, who just
like, it's like me as an editor.
Just a random smattering of games, and left an impact on us with like the Tunnel Rhino theme, you know.
That's the whole song. That's the whole song. She really is a penis maestro, and it is genuinely impressive that like a lot of women can do penis music. So I would actually call penis music the most progressive frontier. Like there was no glass ceiling to penis music.
It's like Chef Gusteau from Ratatouille. Anyone can penis music.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone can compose penis music.
Yeah. Antonio, you go, I believe that not everyone can compose penis music. And then at the end, Remy shows his fucking cock and starts playing the harp with it, and Antonio just nodding along, and he writes his positive review about penis music. I mean, you know, anyone can write.
It takes him back to his childhood in front of the Super Nintendo when he enters the Tiger Slash stage, Neon Tiger stage, and then.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, it's an art. Penis is an art, and I definitely think. People are gonna clip that out of context.
Hey, you can follow her on Twitter at Kinuyo Yamashita, and apparently she lives in New Jersey.
We gotta find her, dude. We actually gotta find her.
Oh, dude, we
gotta get her on the show. We have to get her on the show.
Yeah, I'm a Japanese sound producer and composer for video games. I compose music for Castlevania, Mega Man X3, and more. My dog is a Whippet, and his name is Nico.
Do you think
and she has last tweeted on December 26, 2017.
God damn it. We're not going to get her on the show.
No. Well, yeah. And then the tweet before that was on December 17th, 2013, 4 years prior.
Just got
which
done
I
chilling.
love when that happens, when you go to someone's account and they're been inactive. And then it was like they were inactive for 4 years, and then they had one post 10 months ago, and then they went inactive again.
It's the famous just got done chilling.
Yeah, or my favorite was, that was a big thing with YouTubers back in the day. I'm sure you remember this with maybe some of your favorite channels, where they'd be gone for a while and then it'd be like, update, I'm back, and then they'd just be gone.
Like, yeah, I used to do that because uploading the update video is exciting enough to kind of get your fix.
That was a culture, an era that just doesn't exist anymore because of the community post.
Yeah. You don't have to upload the I'm back where it's you in your stupid t-shirt talking to the camera. Like you can just say, hey guys, you know, the content's going to continue on your stupid community post, and that's it. So I have a couple of things that I can talk about that I didn't really get a chance to. That I think,
hit us with we went long with the questions.
No,
so.
it's fine. I mean, here's the thing. It's all we do it for the fans. We do it for you guys. So
that's why we're out here. That's why we're out here playing ball every week. You know, we do it for the fans.
Just, shout outs to the fans. So after a long-standing one-sided beef, as they all are, with the company of Pixar, my mother said some words I didn't want to hear. I truly did not want to hear these words, but she said...
Words you never want to hear your mother say, to be honest with you.
She said, hey, do you want to watch a movie tonight? And immediately, I froze. I was like... Did you say we're going to watch a movie? Like, that immediately puts the fear of God in me, because I can't control the movie selection, and I don't know what we're going to watch.
And you also can't even say no to the initial request.
No,
anyways.
like, because you're just an asshole. That's how we ended up watching The Banshees of Inisherin, which I don't dislike that film, but that's definitely one of those movies where, like, if you're not really into movies as an art, as the primary way that you consume really interesting stories, it kind of doesn't. You with Malignant, I remember this was the thing where it's like there are some times where you're just kind of used to seeing crazier or like more different stuff than that. Whereas for a lot of film viewers, that's like it. That's like the peak of like strange idea exploration of like or unique subjects being explored. And that movie is a very unique movie. It's about like these like how these like feuds between like two old people just start like and that just last until they die, where because you always see this in paired in like sitcoms and stuff where they're like, yeah, I refuse to talk to him because 25 years ago he kept my lawnmower. Like it's about like how those feuds kind of start, and it's a little bit more intense and very dramatic. But yeah, like I finished it and I was like, I mean, that was good.
Yeah, you could clearly understand the quality of it, but you also understood. You're like, I don't appreciate movies on the level to appreciate
where
what it's really doing.
That was not the way. That was not the only way to introduce a story about those elements to me, because there's a lot of stories that like are willing to weave elements like this into their general weirdness. But it's a good film, and I do recommend it. But this time your mom wanted to watch something that was more questionable. Yeah, that was a little more questionable. She said, Myles, do you want to watch Elemental? And
fucking big boss alert just went off.
Yeah.
Fucking
bring contact! Like, I heard that and the alarm started sounding. CP! This is
Danger!
01! All units! Yeah, and so, like, I couldn't say no, but we all know me. Now, my mother knows me, but she does not know this part of me, where my hatred for Pixar is a river. Rolling on and on forever, baby. It will never fucking die. So I'm sitting here. I've like ball busted Elemental for just behind its back for ages for having the lamest premise of all fucking time, and it is massively lame.
Avatar was about the elements instead.
Yeah, it's what if elements could love. One of the worst fucking premises I've ever fucking seen in my entire goddamn life, and goddamn is that a stupid fucking premise. But then I sit down and I start watching the movie, and partway through the film, I realize this is actually the kind of movie that I want from Pixar. Like, genuinely. Because the story is mid, and they're not trying to do, like, anything, like, really ambitious and thoughtful and deep. The problem is that it has, like, this, like, immigration, like, or, like, kind of, like, soft racism, soft anti-immigration, like, you know, oh, it's bad, we suffer so much, like, element that just completely falls flat. Like, for example, like the fire elements are kind of like they're allowed to live in the city, but like there's some judgment around them. But the one example of like fire elements being like oppressed was that they weren't allowed in an herbarium with a bunch of plants that are really rare because they're fire. And like that's one of those moments where you think, oh, so in this universe, I actually kind of understand the racism here. I kind of agree.
Yeah, it's like the Tokyo Ghoul thing, where it's like, and Tokyo Ghoul is not an allegory for racism, but if you act like it is, it's like It's different. It's not. They're different species actually here, though. It's not the same situation.
Yeah, like it's like being racist against.
They are fire.
It's like being racist
they
against a
light
cow.
The plants on fire.
It's like being racist against a cow insofar that, like, yeah, we are just different, dude. Like, I am gonna call a cow fucking inferior to me. Sorry, India, but like, I have more brains than this cow. I have less stomachs, unfortunately, but more brains. So it's just factual. We're just different. We're not fucking equals just because we're both alive. I can see this cow, you stupid fuck. I'm better than you. So like, but I'm watching the film, and what I realize is that this is a classic Disney tech demo movie where it's basically just Disney Pixar flexing their amount of money and like specifically their level of like animation technique and animation technology to tell a story that's just about the visuals. And this is actually the kind of movie that I actually think I like this. I like when anime movies do this, and this is a very specific anime thing where like the story is Redline is absolutely 200% this movie, where it's just about the visual feat, the achievement of the animation. And the actual movie itself has such a thin story, but like the decision to have it be about elements is actually kind of brilliant, because what ends up happening is that they can have like these I mean, it's about essentially like the way that elements like kind of interact with the natural world, which means that they can have these fucking dazzling light shows and characters like with their elements, like they mix in ways that like, I mean, it's chemistry. I mean, and they say,
they like make steam and stuff with water in the fire mix or whatever.
There's a great scene where they're both inside of a hearth. And like the thing is, because she's fire and he's water, like there's like prismatic lighting, like just kind of going circular around the room, and it's like really beautiful and impressive, and it emulates real life in a way that kind of makes you appreciate like the beauty of what's happening. Like it allows you to stop and appreciate like beautiful real world effects, because there's a love story attached to what is happening. Like there's prismatic lighting because fire and water are holding hands and they're together. And the cinematography, by the way, great. The art direction, great. The color palette, way too pastel for my liking, but great. Like, it's just, it's the kind of...
like everything but the writing.
Yeah, basically. And you know what? That's great, because Pixar's writing sucks. They've been doing the same fucking movie for 10, 12 years now, and like this is why I also like Turning Red, where they're just like, we're not even gonna try. The story we're telling has the smallest stakes, and the story is just about very simple characters who want very simple things, and the emotional highs are not gonna be that high, and the emotional lows are not gonna be that low, and we're just here to animate. And I was like so pleased. I was so pleased by the fact that this wasn't a movie about immigration. It was just a stupid fucking rom-com about fire and water that used the elements to have beautiful visual storytelling allegories. And all I could think to myself, and by the way, the set pieces are genuinely gorgeous, but it's so funny because the writing is like, specifically the dialogue is fucking bad in a way that's really unique for movies, because it's not like Samurai Cop or like The Room, where like you're like, something's wrong here. It's just the fact that everyone speaks so directly and with like no like prose or no like elegance, and like everything is tell don't show, like with the dialogue, because it's just about the elements, dude. It's just about the beauty of chemistry and the natural world.
It's about the beauty of Claude.
Yeah, and dude, Claude has got the Riz. Let me tell you,
the Rizzler over here,
the fucking Rizzler Claude, the sexual harassment boy. Yeah, like at one point, like she like the dad wants her to take over the store. Like he's, by the way, the allegory's fucking dog shit. The immigration allegory is like actually heinous. Like it's so badly conceived. So the reason that they left their country was not because Element City is the land of opportunity, because you can't imply America's better than some fucking backwater place like Fireland, which is supposed to be Ireland, and like they're all Firish, but like they're Indian. Like the guy runs like a corner store, right? Like the fire guy runs like a corner store, and he speaks with like a, you know, like an accent, like an Indian sounding accent, but they're from Fireland. and they're Irish. So like already something's not right. Something is not right. Now, obviously, I'm aware that the Irish
are redheads.
Well, I was also hey, there
works.
You go.
Why are they Indian if it was gonna be fair?
So the other thing is just the fact that like I'm aware that when
like couldn't the wind people be Indians or something? Like
that would make that would
they
that
got
would make some
mountains
sense.
and shit.
They're all Tibetans.
Mountains.
They're Tibetans. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's a really weird like thing there, and again, I'm aware that Ireland and the Irish people, when they came here, like they were persecuted against, so like that's completely fair. But like this is a more modern thing of like Indians being persecuted against, like in their little corner stores. But at one point, like she takes over the counter because the dad wants her to take over the store, and they do a really good job with this plot in particular, where it's not like the boring thing of, but I don't want to take over the store, I don't wanna, and my dad won't approve. Like the whole reason that she just doesn't tell them, and when she tells them at the end, they're like, that's fine, do what you want, like we assume that this was what you wanted because you never said anything, but I approve, like get out of here. So there's none of that fucking garbage manufactured drama, but I don't want to be a doctor. There's none of that shit. It's about her as a character failing to communicate and causing her own problems, and the parents are not villainized for it. It's fucking great. It's so not Disney.
But it doesn't sound like that exciting either.
No, it's not, but it's great if you're me and like you're fucking done with all this shit, with the generational trauma and the fucking parents don't understand the kids, and oh my god, and white people are bad, and colonization is bad, it's all bad, anything involving America is bad. Yeah. Like the fact that like Lightyear is a movie about how Buzz is a toxic white male and he needs to start letting other people do the job that he usually tries to do entirely by himself because he and it's not like a racism thing.
The pilot of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command literally did that story,
but 10 times better in 22 minutes because he wants to work alone.
Yeah, 40 minutes, but still, like
the problem is that in Lightyear in particular, like he doesn't end up doing anything in the end. He basically just lets everyone else do his job, which makes him look incompetent.
Yeah, where at least it's like in the fucking Star Command pilot, yeah, he still saves the day, but like his buddies fucking were crucial in saving him and also coming in with the fucking assist like it should be.
Yeah.
And the fucking movie about the character who you're named the movie after, and the only that's what offends me about shit like that is it's like you sold the movie off of this IP, and then you're gonna be like, actually, this guy sucks, and all the new characters are what you really want.
Which is the most, yeah, that's the most like modern Disney garbage nowadays. The Marvels, like that's what they're doing. It's like, oh, you didn't like one Captain Marvel? How about 3? And by the way, they're all gonna be better than Carol Danvers. I know you don't like Carol Danvers, but they're all going to be better than her anyway, because that's what we do around here.
Wait a minute, cool. Carol Danvers is also in one of the Marvels in the Marvels.
I know, but I guarantee you that
she's going to be better in this movie than she was in 2018 Captain Marvel.
No, I guarantee you that she's going to be slightly worse than she was in 2018 Marvel, so that they can prop up these new The Marvels, even though she already fucking sucked and no one liked her in the first one. They're gonna fucking throw her under the bus again. But like, it's the elemental shit in this movie is so funny because she wants to run the corner store, but she keeps like getting too mad at the customers. And
what's it called? The Fire Stop?
It's called the Fireplace.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah. But he takes her to the back of the store and he's like, you must learn to control your temper. You know, that's an Asian. I don't know how to do an Indian. No, I know how to do an Indian. When you are ready to take over and make a connection, you can take over the store. And like, and he's just like so like upfront, and she's like, thank you so much, Papa. And he's like, you are my daughter and I love you very much. Now go back to the counter. Like, you know, just so direct. And like Wade as a character is the most like he is like the most like beta insecure woman's dream, where it's just he thinks she is the fucking queen of the world, and he thinks that she's awesome and amazing, and she doesn't see how great she is.
He thinks she's lit.
She thinks she's lit. Yeah, like it's literally that Jonas Brothers song, "You Don't Know You're Beautiful." Like that is Wade as a character. And like all of his like romantic lines are like, "I sure love when you're yourself." Like just so bad, but like it's just about like the animation and the beauty of like of elements.
Watch it on mute.
Dude, watch it on mute. Watch it with your favorite penis music in the background and just have a good time. Like it honestly, watch it with the subtitles because you're not missing anything with the performances, really. And just like enjoy the visuals and just be okay with just existing in animation land for a bit. And it's the kind of thing that Americans really like don't do. Like we don't value just animation technique as much as other countries. Ireland loves to do this, like Japan, obviously. Russia's huge on just animation technique being the point. And so it was like cool to see that. And it made me realize what my problem with Pixar is, which is that Pixar's premises, their actual premises, are the lamest thing in the world. But when they then try and like gas them up and make them like important, it's like this fucking infuriating nightmare of like it's like you're not doing a good job. The story's bad. Your messaging's
because
bad.
Myles, like, I gotta know, like, what the fuck is the climax of this movie? Like, what is the big climax of the film?
This is so bizarre. All of it's so bizarre. So there's a dam that's leaking into the city. And it's leaking into the fireplace because the city has not shut off the water to the area because the Firetown, whatever it's called, is like sort of underserviced. It's like a Chinatown sort of comparison, right? And so like the dam is not affecting anywhere else in town, or like anywhere else in the city really, but it is affecting their basement because they just they haven't really done enough investigating because it's not a high enough income part of town is sort of the parallel that they're making. And Wade, and Ember fix the dam because she blows glass. And by the way, the glass blowing sequences are like so animation. It's like really sick. It's just, if you like animation, it's just worth seeing.
Animation.
Yeah, that is animation.
It's animation.
I must have been in the wrong theater. But that's the line, right?
No, I was referencing the fucking Baby's Kids ad where the guy goes, "That's animation." And he says that's animation and then a follow-up, but fucking Nostalgia Critic would just cut it at "that's animation," and like that is like the funniest shit ever.
See, I was referencing Beta.
This must be the wrong room from Sonic Adventure. That's a great reference.
This
that's
must
also
be the wrong theater. Yeah, it's like, but So she like blows the glass, and it's a marvel of CGI. She blows glass and like creates like really reinforced glass that holds the leaking dam at bay. Right?
It truly is an animation moment.
It really is. And if you like animation, it's not penis. This is the anti-Get Ed, where like I actually think the story elements of Get Ed turned out to be pretty like better than expected. It's just the penis elements were terrible. This movie turned out to have
visual elements.
Yeah, this movie turned out to have a story that was like way lesser, and I appreciated that. They didn't even try. It was just like a rom-com,
like a porno plot, but like
yeah, like it actually is porno animation, like in a good way. But the thing is, the glass starts to break at an arbitrary point in the film, because again, plotting. And the city Firetown starts to flood, and all the fire people are in danger. They all the like mid-tier, like C-tier movies that they've done, end with someone like outrunning a fucking flood. Like in The Good Dinosaur and in this movie, they're outrunning a flood. It's like a Roland Emmerich film, but she's outrunning it on a motorcycle, so it's better. Because she drives around on a delivery bike, and with her fucking JRA goggles, So she warns all the people to get to higher ground, and then she and Wade start to try and fix the store, and so they bring a blue flame from their hometown to melt that ice to get the Zora King out, and she says, "We need to protect the blue flame. It's important to my dad." And Wade understands because he's so culturally sensitive. so
It's
sensitive.
like,
to
I
other
know it's so important for your people in order to be able to
to melt the Zora
the water temple,
to get that Zora's tunic for free. And so,
you can't be paying 200 rupees for that shit.
yeah, and so like
not in today's economy.
Not with Bush in the White House. So they save the blue flame by bringing it inside of a hearth that like the mom uses for like fortune telling. That's her like side business. But the hearth is sealed, and the thing is, Ember is so hot in this enclosed space that Wade starts to evaporate. And he, like, fucking dies for a moment, because, of course, he comes back in some capacity. And she brings him...
pretty crazy if she fucking killed the lover.
She killed her love interest, yeah. Like, that would have been so based. And just a Titanic moment, right? Like, just do a Titanic moment. We're too big to fit on the door. But you can't do that in a kid's movie. Yeah, I mean, I squashed the beef with Pixar, not because I think Pixar is redeemed. Their next movie is going to be a piece of shit, probably. It's probably going to suck ass. But I squashed the beef in that I don't think they're like, the movies themselves are the problem. It's the fact that they keep trying to tell these important stories, and they're bad at it. They suck ass. And if they just accept that they're a bunch of nerds who like to animate like the rest of the fucking animation industry, they could probably make some good fucking movies again. Like Turning Red was really good because it was so unimportant. It was about girls and their vaginas. Like that's the movie. And Elemental's so unimportant. It's about a fucking cuck, an actual fucking beta, fucking bowing to his queen who doesn't know how beautiful she is. But like, both of them just have gorgeous animation and great energy, and if the plot sucks, it's fine because the plot is barely there. It's okay. So I wouldn't even say I like really like the movie, but I like the fact that I don't have to like dread every Pixar movie being like an attempt at doing a Toy Story 3 and just fucking falling on its face and falling down the stairs and tumbling into a taxi that opens up and they tumble into a landfill and get covered with garbage. Like, just stop. You're not good. You're not good at stories anymore. I don't know why, but you're bad at them. Yeah. Just give up and just make fucking the Mario movie. That movie's equally vapid and looks great. And I was just as pleased because they played fucking 4 measures of the SNES Rainbow Road song, and it sounded gorgeous. And I was happy. I was so happy to hear a song I know. So that was my experience with Elemental. And I figure we should end this show off the worst way possible. Because you brought up something that I have been thinking about all fucking week, which is we were talking about the lyrics to one of our favorite songs of all time. Name not remembered. Where the famous lyric, ice cream, scooping, shitting, pooping. And we stopped. We were talking off the record and we stopped. And Sam said to me something very profound. Myles, we need to discuss the difference between a shit, a poop, and a dump. And immediately I thought to myself, I can explain this. I can explain this. Okay, well, let's hear your theories, okay? And by the way, crackheads, this is the most engaged we want you to be. Tell us what the difference is.
Yeah, please. Write us in the podcast discussion thread on Discord what your different, how you would sort of separate these terms. But you immediately agreed with me in the sense that all 3 of these terms mean different things.
They do.
When you say poop, when you say dump, when you say shit, they mean
there are 3 different actions. Now they are the same act, but they are 3 different actions.
No, they're not actions. They're
experiences.
They're 25% actions, 75% result, I think.
Okay, so you're going by result. Okay. So we have different metrics, and I'll let you explain yours first.
So, like, to me, like, if I take a poop, I sit in the toilet and I'm dropping like pellets. I'm dropping
that's
like,
way too, dude. That's too lenient. That's too like strict. I think because poop, I think that's the platonic bowel moving experience, right? Like when you take a poop, that is the ideal in my opinion.
It's here's the thing. It's normal. It's gonna happen. You do it, and it's fine, and life goes on, and it's all good. A dump. when you take a dump, also known colloquially as dropping a load,
or dropping
maybe
a
even
deuce.
a deuce,
Yes,
a deuce as well is the same. That's all the same term. They're all the synonyms for the same thing. To me, a dump is a great effort followed by great relief.
Okay.
Like a dump is like you had to drop a big load. Like you had to really like I really gotta go to the bathroom. Like I really gotta take a dump right now. And you go, and it's a lot. You might be in the toilet for like double digit minute wise or whatever. You might be on there.
We're in leg falling asleep zone.
Yeah, we're like, yeah, you might be in there for a while, but like maybe it's because you had a couple big meals or whatever. You just kind of ate
this
crazy.
This is the Thanksgiving. Like that's the Thanksgiving result.
Yeah, like that's it. But again, here's the key point: is the second part, which is sort of like a feeling of pretty great relief. Like when it's all said and done, like, fuck yeah, I'm feeling great. That's a dump. A shit is what I had to deal with yesterday.
Oh,
like,
no.
Where you fucking feel like dog shit before you get on the toilet. You enter limbo hell. You enter one of the 9 circles of the fucking Dante's Inferno. On the actual toilet. And then when it's all done, said and done, your ass just fucking hurts and is sore. And no matter how much you fucking wipe, it feels like it just doesn't end.
It's endless, yeah.
It's endless. It's actually endless. That, my friend Myles, is a shit.
See, we have such a different metric because I was actually going to argue that it is based on as much the results as the situation, the feeling that you get that arises before you realize that's happening. This is happening. We're going now. Okay. I think that a poop is the most casual, but it's also the most like ideal and the most like normal, right? Like nothing to report.
Yes, absolutely.
If you are playing a game or if you're watching a movie or if you're doing whatever it is that you do and you start to feel that you need to poop, easy enough to just stand up, get to the bathroom, do your thing, one single log, not too hard, not too soft, just normal. This is the kind of experience you don't tell anyone about, not just out of modesty or privacy, but because there's no story. And
nothing interesting. Nothing really interesting.
I would call it a mild urge, a niggling urge, if you will. You feel just a little like, oh yeah, now is about that time. Get up, take care of it, come back, go right back to your game. I would argue that the level of toilet paper wiping necessary, what toilet paper wiping is the most redundant phrase. I would say minimal to like a reasonable amount, like 3-4. Like, I think that's the end cap, like the real top. But I would say 1 to 2 is more normal.
Like I'll judge it not based on the amount of like tissue paper used, but the amount of swipes taken.
I think that's what's most important. And everyone swipes different.
Under 4 swipes, I think is fair for poop. I think that's fair, right?
Yeah,
that's fair.
So I would argue that this is the equivalent of like there's coming, there's nutting, and there's busting, like which I think we talked about before.
Yeah.
Like this is the equivalent of coming. Okay, and so. A dump, I think, is like one where the feeling in your guts is so fucking raw and powerful, and you can tell this is gonna be great.
It's like I have to go. That like feeling of like I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
like,
but in particular, like it's that feeling of like the food's Food's done. I'm satisfied. I'm feeling good. This is what I reference Thanksgiving. You're sitting on the couch, you're watching football and or whatever it
and
is
it's
you watch.
coming your way. You know, your Thanksgiving feast is about
and
to.
You all know it's coming back, and
it's about to reach its final destination.
And you get up, and no one says anything because hey, we're all gonna be there. No judgment. But you go on there, and I don't necessarily think that the length of time matters per se, but I do think that 10 to 15 minutes is due to the volume, the very particular volume of, like, not only are you going to go, you're going to go a lot. And this might just be one massive log. It might be some smaller, more segmented logs. It's the difference between an any percent and an IL.
How about this, Myles? The dump is maybe unpleasant, but it's not really painful. The shit hurts.
Well, I was actually about to say,
painful.
I don't necessarily think the shit has to be painful. I think it's about the reaction that you have, where, like, so when you're taking a dump, right? Like, you need to take a dump, like, and when you poop, you need to poop, right? This is all normal. A shit, I think you need to shit, and that, like, emphasis, that feeling of, like, it's like, I am not about to do this, it is about to happen to me. Like, when you go to take a dump, that's usually a moment of, like, yeah, I'm feeling it, I really need to go, but like you, that is a choice that you make. That you knew what you were getting into when you ate the food. You knew exactly how it was going to come out.
The shit kind of is unexpected most of the time, I feel like.
Yeah, like, when you need to shit, you're on the way to a party. You didn't go before you left, and you're going to go at that party.
Or it was fucking, you had a fucking interview in 30 minutes and it's like, and you already are feeling a little nervous and you got some, you're feeling in your stomach a bit, and then it's like, oh fuck, I think I gotta go to the bathroom, but then you can't go to the fucking bathroom because you're fucking nervous. It's just like, fuck. And because I'm the type of guy, Myles, where if there's any sort of time limit,
you can't do it.
Situation, I can't do it, bro. Even if it's like 40 minutes. It's like,
I'm the same exact way.
Not enough time, bro.
I'm the same exact way. Like, especially
I'm
like,
so glad I'm not alone.
Especially if you, like, don't really need to go yet. Like, here's the thing: if you don't really need to go yet, that's because you need to poop. Like, that's what that means, right? If you need to shit, you're already there, man. You got no choice. Like, it's when you have to shit, it is happening to you. Whether you like it or not, it's happening to you. So having to shit is an event. It's a fucking QTE, man. Where, like, you either fail or you pass. There is no agency. It happens to you. But I don't think the actual, like, pleasantness or unpleasantness necessarily factors in so much as the level of desperation required. So that was my metric. It was more about the reaction you feel and, like, the necessity you feel prior to the act. Like, and it's interesting because I was going to say that there's no delineation, because there is a delineation for number 2 and number 3. There's no delineation for number 1, though, between, like, peeing, pissing, and whizzing, and taking a leak, and all that. Like, there's just too many variables. There's too many of them, and you can't quantify the experience. You kind of always have to, like, it's always the same thing, really. Like, depending on how desperate you are, it's still taking a leak.
To me, the only difference between a pee and a piss is, like, the PSI level of, like, how fast it's coming out of the dragon, you know?
Yeah, it's how fast it's coming out of the Mega Man X3 soundtrack. Like, you just... Like, if there's, like, a little...
How fast is it's coming off the screen of a Get Ed showing on
how fast is the shot in Get Ed? How quickly does it cut away in Get Ed? No, I think that's a pretty fair thing, but it is interesting that it's almost unspoken. It's almost unspoken, and you can tell the difference between, even before you get there, there's an intuition in you that knows which of the 3 categories you're about to drop. And I don't know what it is. I think it's just one of those things that makes us more intelligent than the animals. That makes us what we are. human.
Yeah, I will say it is one of these things where it's like I will remark to myself like the state of like what I just had, like when it's over, we're done. It's like, yeah, that was a dump. Yeah, that was a shit. That was a poop. Like, because that's when you like know for sure. Because I agree.
Screen scorecard at the end.
Yeah. Because I will say for me is like there are some times where I sit and I think I am going to poop and I shit, and there are some times I think I'm going to shit and I just poop, or sometimes I'm going to poop and I take a dump. It's crazy. Where like that's the thing is
true.
where like I think the different where you just might be more you just probably have better fucking I don't know, you got better observation
I have
when
a
it
sense.
comes to this shit. I
don't
guess.
know why, but I have a sense like where when I get there I kind of know what's going to happen, and I don't necessarily know how or what gives me this sense, but I put it on my resume, and that's how I got hired for this most recent job.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Oh, awesome. And if you want to learn tips about how to get hired for a super cool job, join our Discord.
Yeah, join the Miku's house Discord.
Yeah, the Miku's house. Miku's perfectly normal home.
It's just a picture. It's just a picture of Miku at like
condo.
Miku's a picture of Miku like eating an omelet like at her breakfast table. Like there's like a dog somewhere in the frame. Completely normal house.
Normal. Uncracks your house.
You know what? Uncracks your crack house. That's what happens when you get hired. They say we're about to uncrack your house.
Yeah. Well, you can either get hired or get Ed.
I hate us so fucking much. I think God should kill us.